Right, are we good? Are we live? I think we are. Hello all and welcome back to the Women's Football Chat Live. We're back for more Women's Champions League action as we're into the final match day 6 of the 25-26 league phase. It's going to be interesting. Today we've got 9 games kicking off simultaneously, Harry, so keeping tabs of them all is going to be fun, but should be an enjoyable evening.
Yeah, a big evening for certain sides, but yeah, this league phase seems to have flown by across the first few months of the season, but a big night for some clubs involved. Still qualification at the bottom end of the table to be decided. The top 4 also undecided going into tonight. So some big sets of 90 minutes coming up and some games that could really define the season for certain sides in the Champions League. But yeah, I think we're going to be in for a lot of action tonight, a lot of drama, and it's going to be one of those where the amount of different circumstances that could come out of tonight due to how tight it is in that midfield pack is going to be very hard to keep track of. But no matter what happens, we know it's going to be dramatic and we know it's going to be exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the fact that every game seems to have something on the line tonight, except the sides facing off at the bottom, and Paris FC, I believe, the only side other than the bottom 4 who can't go into the top 4, but also can't be knocked out. So they're the only side with very little to play for tonight, but they are already through to the next round. So going to be interesting to see how it all pans out this evening. We've obviously got that competition for the top 4 places still alive, as you say. There's still that opportunity for Vålerenga or Leuven. One of those two sides will be through tonight. There is a very slim chance that Atletico Madrid could get knocked out, but they would have to lose heavily and absolutely destroy their goal difference. It would have to be a 5-goal difference swing to Vålerenga, and a Vålerenga side who go away to Bayern Munich. So that would require quite the swing, but you never know. And Arsenal and Leuven do have to face Arsenal, so Vålerenga could win there. There is a chance they still get through. But it is the big conversation is who's going to get into that top 4, and that is where our game revolves around tonight. Wolfsburg taking on Chelsea in match day 6. 2 pot 1 sides meeting each other then. Do you think it's more beneficial for these sides meeting in the last game week in terms of how their fixtures have panned out, or do you think it is less beneficial to have to meet this evening?
I think it's a bit of a catch-22. I think it has its pros and cons. The massive pro is that you can get your points on the board early, and then you're playing a pot 1 side at the very end when you've already got enough points to get through, which is the case with both these two sides. They've both done enough to qualify for the knockout playoff round going into this evening. But of course, with both sides still in the top 4 hunt, if Wolfsburg were going away to a side in pot 3, or if Chelsea want to top the league. But look at Barcelona. Barcelona are taking on Paris FC tonight. That game we do not expect any upsets in. So that is where the con comes, is that if you are still in contention for something, which both these sides are, both sides could get top 4 this evening. Wolfsburg would need a minor miracle, but it's still possible. But that's the negative, is you've got to go and face a pot 1 side. But both sides know what they're going to do. It's going to be a really good game. And if Wolfsburg turn up, then they can get something from this game. So it won't be as simple as Chelsea turn up, get the 3 points on the board, and send themselves through to the top 4. Chelsea are going to have to work for it this evening, especially away from home, and especially with the fact that Wolfsburg also are in contention to get into the top 4. So yeah, I'm expecting a really good tussle between 2 very strong pot 1 sides.
Well, I think it's incredible how much of a difference that draw with Twente has made. If they hadn't had that, they'd be through. They'd be top of the group tonight, and with a very slim chance of not making it through. But it has just left them in a little bit of jeopardy going into this final game week. Well, let's dive into the lineups, and we'll start with the hosts, Wolfsburg. It is a 4-3-3, it looks like, this evening for Wolfsburg. In goal, Johannes, a back 4 of Sarai Linda, Bergsvand, Kuva and Labels. In the midfield 3, it's Minger and Pedemors as a pair with Pop in attacking midfield. On one side, Sven Yehoof. On the other, Kessia Bussi. And leading the line, it's Lynette Berenstein. Strongest 11, really, for Wolfsburg. There was a lot of rotation amongst that side, but this looks like their strongest 11 players.
Yeah, this is kind of what we've expected to see as the core from Wolfsburg, and yeah, it's a very, very good side. And if we can see the kind of performances we have seen from certain players, if it can all come together tonight, then it could be a good game. But yeah, it's a very, very good side. I thought that Pedemors was brilliant against Manchester United. I thought Sven Yehoof was brilliant against PSG in Matchweek 1. I think that certain other players have had their good games here and there. It just hasn't come together. It seems that everyone in Wolfsburg is taking it in turns to have a good performance. If everyone can be on their night tonight, then they'll take the game to Chelsea. But yeah, strong Wolfsburg side, the 11 that we more or less expected to see, and an 11 that is very capable of getting a result tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And as for the visitors, Chelsea, it's a return to the 3-4-2-1, and it is almost identical. In fact, I think it is an identical 11 to what we saw play on Sunday. In goal, it's Livia Peng, a back three of Bronze, Bright, and Naomi Girma. Carpenter, Cuthbert, Walsh, and Baltimore across the four. And then the two wingers, James and Alyssa Thompson, and leading the line, Sam Kerr. Kerr, the only change then from that 11 that started the game against Brighton, came on at half-time there and had a big impact. So Chelsea, strong performance there away from home on Sunday, now looking to maintain that as they continue on the road against Wolfsburg and then into Liverpool next weekend.
Yeah, Chelsea looking to just pick up where they left off in that Brighton game. It was a very, very good second half and an overall performance from the Blues, but I thought when Sam Kerr came on for the second 45, she really made the difference. So rewarded with the start tonight. And yeah, Chelsea will be hoping that consistency will breed another good result and, you know, see them safely through into the quarterfinals automatically. But yeah, it's a ridiculously good Chelsea side. We saw the quality that it possessed on Sunday against Brighton, and that players like Thompson and James were running riot in and around the penalty area. So a big ask of that Wolfsburg backline to contain Chelsea, not only in central areas, but with the width of Baltimore and Carpenter. We know Chelsea are going to put a lot of pressure onto the backline for Wolfsburg. It's going to be interesting how they handle it. But yeah, consistency. Yeah. Bonpastor sticking with what worked on Sunday. It makes sense. Just get these two results across the line before the winter break and then look to start to get back to where they want to be. But yeah, for Chelsea tonight, it's about the 3 points. It's about finishing in the top four and just getting the job done.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd like to pose a quick hypothetical. If Natalie Bjorn was fit, do you think Millie Bright starts tonight?
It's a difficult one. I think probably not. I think not. I mean, two reasons. I don't think Bright has been playing brilliant as of late, but also just simple rotation. I think we would have seen Bjorn play either of the Brighton or Wolfsburg games, and Millie Bright would have played the other one. But yeah, Bright, it's Bright. It's one. I think Millie Bright needs a good performance tonight. It's as simple as that. I think she could do just a real solid, error-free, just doing the job. I'm not expecting her to go out and play an absolute blinder. Just go out and have a decent. Millie Bright needs a 7 out of 10 performance. There's been too many that have been below par this season. Too many where she has made errors. Tonight doesn't need to be anything extraordinary. Just keep it solid, keep it secure at the back, and just I think for herself, just steady herself a bit, put in a solid performance, and hopefully that will see her get back on track and have a bit of a reset at the winter break.
That's a difficult thing because you'd say the easiest way to sort of reset is have a spell on the sidelines. But obviously now with the injury to Bjorn, I would hope that she gets a rest on Sunday. I think there is no reason Villa Berman couldn't step into the side on Sunday. But it has to be said, it's a little bit of a weakness for Chelsea this evening. I think if Wolfsburg can isolate Bright against Bielenstein, that is a 1v1 battle which they should be winning. That is the kind of thing where Wolfsburg can be looking to take the edge, especially if Alexandra Popp is really good at supporting Bierenstein this evening, because you've got Bierenstein who's going to beat Bright in behind, and you've then got Alexandra Popp who's going to win those aerial battles. So if those two can combine tonight and the wingers can successfully pull that Chelsea back three apart, that is where they could create those opportunities. But Chelsea do defend very well. We know those wing-backs are great at not just getting up, but also getting back into defend. We know how good that pivot is as well for Chelsea. This will be a tough ask. But Wolfsburg have a very good record against English sides. I think the last time these two sides met was in the final match day of 2021. That year's edition of the Champions League, where Chelsea needed to win that final match day against Wolfsburg, lost 4-0 and were knocked out of the competition in the group stage. I believe that was the year. But that was obviously a very different side now. But Wolfsburg have a knack of getting results against English sides. I think the only English side they faced in this year's edition was Manchester United, who they beat 5-2. Now, I don't see that happening tonight. United were very poor in that game. But Wolfsburg have a great record against English sides.
Yeah, they do, and we know the quality they do possess, and I think that the Wolfsburg of a couple of years ago would have been right in this conversation. I just think my main concern for the German side tonight is that they're going to rely on Chelsea errors. Of course, they were good in that Manchester United game, but I thought that, again, they relied on United being poor. They relied on United making errors, and relying on Chelsea making errors is a bit more difficult. That's very unlikely to happen. I mean, maybe you're hitting, you're getting onto Chelsea at the right time, but yeah, I think that Wolfsburg have had a good campaign. They've got the points on the board, but my concern is that the games they've won, I think they've got away with it a little bit. I thought PSG were really poor. They were very, very lucky against Bologna. As I said, Man United were really, really poor on that night as well. And that
also played United at the right time, really, because United were struggling. They didn't have many players. They had obviously the suspension as well for Dominic Janssen helped things, and that's helped them. But yeah, as you say, I think they've been fortunate in some of the results they've got.
Yeah, because the 3 games I mentioned there, that's 9 points. Where I think, of course, you can only play the opposition that are on the pitch with you, and that is part of football. But I think there's 9 points there where they play some really poor sides, and if that had been a PSG side at the top of their game, if that had been a United side on the top of the game, and if they hadn't got lucky against Bologna, then suddenly their campaign looks very different. Of course, they've got the quality to take on Chelsea tonight, but I think they'll be relying on Chelsea to make errors, and if those errors don't come, then I think the German side will find it difficult to get a result, against Chelsea.
Yeah, and the fear is obviously, while qualification for the top 4 is an opportunity for Wolfsburg this evening, failure to win will likely see them drop into the bottom half of the knockout playoff round draw, which obviously changes who they seed against. They don't want to drop too low. Because it is the way the seeding works is that the 5th or 6th place side will play the 11th or 12th place side, and then the 7th or 8th place side will play the 9th or 10th place side. So if Wolfsburg were to slip to as low as 11th or 12th, that would put them in a spot of bother. Now they should be okay for dropping that far back, but equally it's not impossible that they do. Even if they drop to the likes of 9 and 10, they're still going to be in for a slightly tougher game than if they don't. So, yeah, victory tonight for Wolfsburg is really important, but it's going to be a really tough ask. Chelsea are in, better form after the win against Brighton. We know they're a side of a lot of quality, and Chelsea need a victory tonight to confirm top 4. They don't want to play that knockout playoff round in February. Players coming out of the tunnel then, so let's dive into our scoreline predictions. If you're watching along to the show, get involved in the live chat and let us know your scoreline prediction as Wolfsburg take on Chelsea. We're going to get started here in the studio, and we'll start with yourself, Harry. What is your prediction for this game?
I'm going to back the Blues. I think Chelsea will get the job done tonight and have the quality to see Wolfsburg off. I'm going to say I don't think it'll be a drubbing or anything. I think it'll be a pretty competitive game. I'll say Chelsea 2, Wolfsburg 0. I think it'll be a pretty tight affair. Chelsea leading 1-0, and then they'll get a second one late on to just really secure the game. But I will say Chelsea goals from Sam Kerr in the first half and Lauren James in the second half.
Fair enough. I'm going to go for Wolfsburg 1, Chelsea 3. I think that's the same scoreline I predicted on Sunday, but I think this could very much be a situation. I still think Chelsea are a little bit open at the back, while Sunday was much more defensively solid. I think Wolfsburg will be better at taking those sort of individual, or winning those individual battles, taking their opportunities, making life really difficult for Chelsea. So I think they will score tonight. I think it'll be a case of Chelsea maybe 2-1 up, goes towards the last few minutes. Wolfsburg are sending everything forward. Maybe they keep the guys up for a corner, and Chelsea then exploit that to get the third goal. I'll say Chelsea goals from Alyssa Thompson. I will go for... I was tempted to say Kat McCarry from the bench, but I don't think she's on the bench, is she? I'll say Beaver Jones from the bench for that third goal, and I will go for Lauren James as well. And as for Wolfsburg, I will say... I want to go for a rogue shout here, but why not? Alexandra Pop.
Yeah, fair enough. I think it really depends what version of Wolfsburg we get tonight. If we get the side that beat Man United 5-2, then it's going to be a very, very good game. If we get the side that went away to Real Madrid and were really, really poor, losing to a 9-player Real Madrid in that game, of course that second red card was late on, then Chelsea will probably find it a little bit easier. So, it's very dependent on what version of Wolfsburg we get tonight.
Absolutely. Lucas, welcome to the stream. Saying Chelsea 3-1. If Kerr scores, then 4-1. Fair enough. I've never seen a prediction contingent on that opening goal score before. Samuel Joseph, welcome to the stream as well, saying, come on, you Blues, let's get this. And Ryan says, will we be the first English team to beat Wolfsburg at home?
Ooh,
not sure.
Yeah,
or away from home, isn't it?
Definitely one of the first. Or I think it's a very small number of teams that would have ever done that. We know Wolfsburg, although the last couple of years hasn't been their best, we know that at their prime they were a force to be reckoned with. But yeah, these are the kind of nights where both sides, it's about focusing on yourself, getting the job done, and then at the end of the game you can look at the scores and see where you are on the table. You can't worry about what other teams are doing. Both Chelsea and Wolfsburg, we focused on getting their job done tonight, doing what they can, And especially in the case of Wolfsburg, if they want to get into that top four, if they want to see what, they can then worry about that after the game. But for them, it's like get the job done and then worry about the permutations, then worry about the circumstances after. But make sure you go out in that 90 minutes and win your game at the very least.
I think it's one of the things I love about this format, though, is that there's no real point looking at the table. No one benefits from a draw this evening in any of the games except maybe Paris FC and Barcelona if they want to play a 1-1 draw. But I think Barcelona would rather just beat them heavily. So, yeah, I don't think that'll be a problem. Like I say, Chelsea has never beaten Wolfsburg in Wolfsburg. Fair enough. Well, Chelsea looking to break that record tonight, and it will be Wolfsburg to get us underway in this game. Svenja, who from the middle, waits for the referee's whistle. And while everyone's gone there before Huth wants to go. And so the Chelsea players will be made to retreat. And now Huth can get us underway. Waits again for the whistle. And now knocks it back. We're back underway in this game. Wolfsburg taking on Chelsea in the Women's Champions League. Match day 6. The final match day of the league phase. Ball played through the lines there. Minga looking to open up the Chelsea defence, but it's cut out by Bronze. And Chelsea now looking to break down the left-hand side. Here's Alyssa Thompson. Driving that ball forwards early on here for Chelsea. Wants to run at players. Has Linda bearing her down. And Thompson there tries to take her on, but she's taken to the byline and can't do anything with it.
Yeah, good defending there from Linda, and it's exactly what Wolfsburg are going to need to do tonight when they've got players like Thompson and Lauren James running at you. You've got to stand tall. You can't afford to commit or dive in because you're going to get yourself into a world of trouble. That was a good piece of defending that from Linda, just seeing Thompson out to play. It's exactly what they need to do tonight.
Absolutely. Ball out to the left-hand side from Johannes. Header one in there by Lucy Bronze, who got up to it well. And now Carpenter under immediate pressure from Kessia Bussy. Well, that will be a Chelsea throw-in on this near side. Carpenter. Thrown into the feet of Thompson, who does well there with Minga on her back. Now Cuthbert through to Thompson, who plays it into Carpenter. Wants to come inside. Not really the room in there, though. Now Bronze, back through the lines to Ellie Carpenter, lays it into Thompson. Thompson opens up the body now for the cross, ball into the box. That's going to bounce through, but here's Sandy Baltimore now. Cuts it back to James, who touches it on, and that's cleared away. And now they'll look to break away VFL Wolfsburg. Lynette Berenstein's ball, though, cut out. Chelsea back in possession. Here's Lauren James. Interesting to see. What we saw against Brighton was that Lauren James and Thompson were pretty much stuck to each other. Looks like they're the other way round tonight, or at least in these early stages they are, with Thompson on the right-hand side, James on the left. Ball won back there by Bussy. Seems to have been caught there by Lucy Bronze. That will be a Wolfsburg free kick.
Yeah, a bit aggressive from Bronze. It was, I think, a bit of a poor pass back from Cuthbert. Bussy managed to nip in there before Bronze, and Bronze coming in late, committing the foul. And that's exactly what Wolfsburg need to do. Put Chelsea under pressure, force that mistake, and then look to put Chelsea under a bit of pressure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think Bronze will avoid a yellow card for that one this early. I'll tell you what, though, I think she's a bit lucky.
It's high and forceful from Lucy Bronze. She doesn't go studs up. She's not gone sliding in. It's not anything more serious, but it's just too casual from Bronze. Gets caught out and dives in. We've got the first goal of the night. It's only taken 2 minutes. Keeping track of the goals tonight is going to be a chore, but the first one going to Bayern Munich. It's Bayern 1, Volerenia 0, and Mirko Tanikawa with that goal.
Yeah, big goal for Bayern Munich. Obviously, they're another team, aren't they, that are in the hunt for a long shot of a top 4 finish.
Yeah. Lucas says, how do you feel about Sonia playing Thompson on the right? Well, it's been quite a fluid role. Her and James tend to swap positions quite a lot, and I don't mind that fluidity. I think James very much thrives in that sort of free roam role, given that freedom to do what she wants, really. When you've got a player like James, just put her on the pitch. She'll make the magic happen. Wolfsburg now with this free kick. Ball in from Svenja Huth into the right sort of area. It's headed down. It drops now in there for Minga, and it's blocked. Sorry, Kuva with the strike. Blocked well, and that's out for a Wolfsburg corner.
Yeah, again, really positive from the home side, trying to put that Chelsea backline under a bit of pressure. I like seeing teams just go to that direct long ball, using the deep free kick to immediately put pressure onto the penalty area.
Yeah, indeed. Wolfsburg now. Ball in towards the front post. Carpenter heads on. And that was almost a little nervy there. And it's Carpenter and Cuff, but the two of them going for it the near post. Seems like there was a little bit of miscommunication. Cuthbert wasn't expecting it to fall to her. She headed it on. Could have been very dangerous. It almost dropped in at the back post.
Yeah, last thing you want is your player at the front post flicking it on. They're there to get rid of it, not to keep it alive.
Wolfsburg now with another corner then, and it is Lavels to take. And who can she pick out in the area? Wolfsburg have that aerial threat. Ball in again to the front post. This time Cuthbert doing a job clearing it away. Pop heads it back into the box. Bit of confusion there. Germa tries to intervene. Beerenstein. It falls for the spectacular, but she's unable to provide the magic there. It's set up nicely. She tried the overhead kick. Got to respect it, but not a great attempt there from Beerenstein.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough, she's tried it, but I felt she had a lot more room there to work with to try and bring it down, or at least swivel and then hit it on the volley to try and score an overhead kick from there. Is going to take something.
Absolutely opening goal in the game between Twente and Real Madrid. It's Real Madrid 1-20-0. Also the first goal in the game between Benfica and PSG. PSG leading by a 0-0 also.
That's kind of the battle for the wooden spoon, that one. Between Benfica and PSG, and at the moment it's going to PSG.
Bolton and Roma as well. Yeah. So those four competing for who's been worse at this competition. They've all been bad, but yeah. Cat Antlers were asking, hello, any word on Cat? Is she hurt? We haven't heard anything about Cat Macaro. I assume it was just a rest. I think she was amongst substitutes on Sunday. So we'll wait in here. Natalie Bjorn missed the team for a few weeks, then found out she's got a hamstring injury. So that tends to be the way things go. Ball in here from Wolfsburg. Head away. Drops her pop. Flicked on in there. Unknowingly, really, by Bergsvand. And that's wide of the mark.
Yeah. Again, another good use of the deep free kick. Wolfsburg not trying these fancy routines. Just putting it in the penalty area and putting Chelsea under pressure. And couldn't quite turn that one goalwards. But it's been a positive start from the home side. They're on the front foot. And they're looking to cause Chelsea some problems.
Yeah, absolutely. There was that brief moment where Thompson was able to bring the ball forwards. That's been the only time, really, that it hasn't been all Wolfsburg so far. But while they've had the chances, they've had a lot of corners, they haven't really threatened the Chelsea goal yet. Carpenter wants to take on Lavels, plays it back to Cuthbert, who's under pressure, turns out really well, dribbles it to the left-hand side. That's well ahead of Baltimore, though. And that was a fairly aimless pass, considerably ahead of either Thompson or Baltimore. A Real Madrid's goal, by the way, disallowed. Wolfsburg with the throw. Back now to Bergsvand. That's out of play. Also, don't think we made enough of the fact that Paris Saint-Germain have scored a goal. Which we've not seen happen much at this competition. Germa tries to play it down the line, blocked out by Huth. That'll be a Chelsea throw-in on the far side with Baltimore.
Yeah, Chelsea just need to settle into this one. It's been a hard and a fast start from Wolfsburg, but it's one of those where once Chelsea settle down and get into their rhythm, then they can really start to play their own football.
Absolutely. Bussy touches it on. Bright. That was wild, reckless, and that will be a free kick. And she's going to be into the book early on here. And that really clumsy. We mentioned before kickoff, Bright needs a better game, needs a less error-prone game. That was a very silly tackle.
Yeah, another one from Chelsea. It's not as high as it first looked, but yeah, just catches Bussy on the top of the ankle. It's another sore one for the Wolfsburg winger. But Chelsea has the third or fourth foul in these opening stages, and yeah, unsurprisingly, finally picking up a yellow card for it. But it has not been it's been a bit clumsy defensively from Chelsea so far. Bronze has already committed a foul. We saw one from Cuthbert, and that one there from Bright was very, very late.
Wolfsburg now with this deep free kick. Ball into the right sort of area. No problems there for Olivia Peng claiming it though. And Chelsea can look to play out. That just puts Bright under all sorts of pressure now. She can't make another tackle like that. The problem for Chelsea is without Natalie Bjorn and with Villa Berman not getting loads of minutes recently, it's difficult to see her coming off. Kerr plays it inside to Carpenter, who's made the inverted run now, looks to spread the play with Sondi Baltimore. waits, delays for the overlapping run of James, who will take the strike herself, though. And that whistles wide, just wide at the front post.
Yeah, better from Chelsea. Caught Wolfsburg heart of the pitch and then used pace to pounce. Good switch out wide from Carpenter into Baltimore. And I like this between Baltimore and James. You got James making the run round the outside, but it just gives Baltimore options. And she's done well to take the shot on there. Caught a few Wolfsburg players out, but couldn't find the back of the net.
I think she's got to put it on target, though. Tess Johannes early. I know she's looking just to squeeze it into the near post, but I think she should be hitting the target in that position. Bronze. Cuthbert, now Bright. All the way back to Olivia Peng. And now playing out to the left-hand side under pressure. Baltimore will get back in there as Germer, as the supporting player, looks to play it down the line. Thompson touching it on, trying to take it round Zara Linda, but it's out of play. Throw taken quickly, Bergsvand. And Johannes. Here is Kuva looking to progress the ball. And that over the top, looking for Beerenstein. One well in the air by Naomi Germer. Cuthbert. And now Bronze. Back to Bright. Nice pass out to Carpenter and go down the line into Kerr. Great hold up, pokes it inside. Into Walsh. Now Cuthbert looks to switch the play. Cut out in there by Pop. And it's Huth who brings it down. Now Minger. Beerenstein. And Bright's physical again there. Minger stronger and Minger too strong with that challenge. But Bright's got to be careful. Going in like that.
Yeah.
You run the risk.
It's an interesting one. Wolfsburg were frustrated because although it was a foul from Minger on Cuthbert, I think they're right to argue. That angle was absolutely nothing. Yeah, she does just scrape down the car for Beerenstein. I tell you what, if the referee gives that and she's got a decision to make, got to be careful, Chelsea. Just seems to be the problem seems to be that everyone at the moment for Chelsea is getting to that ball second, and that's why we've seen Bronze and Bright committing those fouls, because Wolfsburg are nipping in front of them, and then Chelsea are arriving late and just clearing through them.
But is that just a case of, you know, some of the older players not having the reactions that you would want? That's not a great pass from Cuthbert. They're under pressure. Bronze recovers well, slows it down, but it's Wolfsburg bringing the ball out, who've forced backwards though. Bergsvand. Now Kuva into Labels.
Yeah, again, prime example there, exactly what we're talking about. Cuthbert caught on the ball, took too many touches and too slow with it. It's just too slow across the park at the moment from Chelsea.
Here's Bussy, holds the width well, wants to come inside, tries to slip it in behind, but it's won back by Carpenter. Now Cuthbert, Bronze, delays until she's under pressure. Peng then getting it clear. Thompson, back to James. Now out to the left-hand side with Baltimore. Thompson making that run off the shoulder. Baltimore happy to be a little more conservative, though, in this moment. Walsh. Now Germer. Walsh does really well there to roll off the shoulder of Popper. Pass into Thompson, though, was a good one, but Thompson not able to be press resistant. Does roll out, though, for a Chelsea throw in the end. And as Oscar says in the live chat, Bayern lead Volorenja now by 2-0. Balenciaga with that goal.
You feel that could get out of hand and get a little bit silly if Bayern Munich continue at the rate they are. But
Bayern need the goal difference, because even with the win tonight, yes, it puts them momentarily into the top four, but they've only now got a 0 goal difference. They really haven't recovered after conceding 7 to Barca in week 1.
Yeah, but that game, ridiculous. And they'll be frustrated by that, because that was really kind of halted any kind of progress they've made. They've done really well to recover it and be in the position they are tonight.
Well, they've just been too porous, really, Bayern Munich. I know, obviously, that 7 goals conceded does have a huge impact, but the only teams that conceded more than them in total at this competition are Arsenal, Roma and SK St. Pölten. So, yeah, really poor defensive record tonight, though, showing off their attacking muscle. And as it stands, they're up to 3rd in the league phase. That pass from Kuva is behind Linda. Linda will get back there, though. Now Bergsvand. And now across to Kuva. Under pressure here as Chelsea look to put Wolfsburg under it. Johannes out to the left-hand side. That's pretty poor pressing there from Thompson to let that ball through in the way she does. Bright wins the header, drops in midfield. Huth gets back in there. James eager to win it back. The pass gets out to the left-hand side. Linda, Minger, Huth. It's come wide now, and she'll look to drill a ball into the box. Headed away well by Walsh. James does really well there to force back Janina Minger. Minger holds on to it even better, though. And now into Huth, who can put it into the box again. Looking to find Alexandra Pop. And Bronze doesn't really do enough to put her off there, but Pop's header just wide.
Yeah, again, really good move from Wolfsburg down that right-hand side. It's not a bad ball in at all from Huth. And again, Pop winning that aerial duel. Wolfsburg are winning that physical battle at the moment. Every header, every loose pass is being picked up by the home side. They're reacting quickest. They're getting to that first ball. They're getting to the second ball quickest. And it's been a really positive and aggressive start for Wolfsburg. The question will be is, how long can they keep this up for?
Yeah, there's been moments where Chelsea have played through that Wolfsburg press and they have looked open. But there's also been others where Wolfsburg have really put Chelsea under the cosh. Here's Beerenstein in the box. That shot is wide of the mark, and Beerenstein bewildered by the referee's decision. She thinks that took a deflection. Not 100% sure either way.
No.
Let's have a look at the replay. Yeah, it does come off Millie Bright.
And what nice here for Chelsea, though.
And we've cut back, and it's 1-0 Wolfsburg. And it's Alexandra Pop who scored, and we were seeing a replay. But Wolfsburg leads it by a goal to nil. Not sure how that's come about. But it's Alexandra Pop capitalising on presumably a Chelsea defensive mistake. Chelsea trying to play out from the back. And Pop clinical as always. So I don't know how it even leads to Peng trying to play it long. Not physical enough from Walsh, and no one deals with it. It's like they stopped playing football. Walsh gets shrugged off, gives up on it, no one steps up. And she fires past Peng, who has little chance. Well, actually, should have done better. Peng's got to dive.
Yeah, it
no
really
one reacts.
Exactly. I'll be honest. We cut back and I thought like the offside flag had gone up or something because everyone just stood still. Peng just stood there and watched the ball go in the net like it wasn't going to count.
Bewildering. Chelsea absolutely freeze there.
But it's been coming. It's been too slow. It's been too sloppy in the first 15 minutes from Chelsea. Chelsea look good once they get past, once they get through and get the attacking players on the ball. But playing out the back has been shocking at the moment.
Yeah, Peng there drilling it into Carpenter. Really nice pass. Lavels, the intensity there, pressing Carpenter, and Bussy comes and supports and knocks it out of play. Carpenter takes the throw quickly. Here's Kerr, rides the contact well, holds up the ball, and that's cleared away by Coover.
I have to say, I think Peng's got the right idea there. Maybe just bypass the back three. Just get it into the wing backs and players further up the pitch.
Yeah, I mean it's been so slow. Bright and Bronze, in particular, have just been so slow on the ball tonight.
Yeah.
Kerr there, not quite able to keep that ball facing the right way, loses it. Lavels. I'm just not sure Peng. I don't know what she was doing. Doesn't react, makes the mistake, and just doesn't react to the pop shot at all.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like she didn't even register what was happening. She wasn't even in like a start ready to save it. Kind of just stood there, flat-footed, and just watched the ball go past.
I assumed on the first watch that it was a lot wider and that Peng just had no chance of getting there. But actually, when you watch it again, it's just too close. Here's Beerenstein. Germa does really well there, keeps up with her, narrows the angle, and makes the defensive move. But it's too open at the moment for Chelsea. Once again here, Chelsea's right-hand side's exposed. And they're just struggling. Bright and Bronze simply cannot keep up with this Wolfsburg attack.
Again, we spoke about the rotation options, the lack of rotation options. Only one change from the game on Sunday, and then it's pretty telling. Bombastor's gone for consistency tonight and tried to keep things the same and hope for the same result. But, I mean, Bright and Bronze have played 3 sets of 90 minutes in the last 4 days.
Yeah, absolutely. We're just in 3 goals go in at once. Arsenal lead away at Leuven 1-0. Same for United. They lead away at Juventus, and Roma take the lead at home to SKN St. Polten. So a trio of 1-0 leads in those games.
Yeah, 2 English sides taking the lead, 1 English side falling behind. And again, Chelsea with another opportunity to play out here, and let's see what Peng opts to do and what the plan is.
Out to Bright. Now in the bronze. Going to play down the line, a lot more direct this time. Kerr here wants to play off the shoulder of Kuva, but Kuva muscles her off. And now Lavels. Kuva. Back to Janina Minga.
Yeah, Kerr looks a touch behind. Just keeps losing that physical battle, but it's more the reaction for me. I mean, there the ball's gone. She's lost it. She ran off the pitch, and it's a huff down and a shrug of the shoulders and walking back into play.
Bernstein, Minga now out to the right-hand side. Baltimore will beat Hoof there. She'll see it out well. Smart there from Baltimore. Didn't really have much support around her.
Yeah. To be honest, I think Chelsea would appreciate just...
respite.
Yeah, trying to get a bit of calm in this game.
Absolutely. No surprises, by the way, the goal scorers in either game involving the English clubs. It's Olivia Smith who opens Arsenal's or breaks deadlock in that game. And for Manchester United, it is Jess Park. Important goal for Park. It's not been her month, really. Started off really well at United, but I thought she struggled a lot, especially on Sunday against Tottenham, but in recent weeks in general. Pass through the lines there into Pop. Now plays it wide to Lavels. And Carpenter comes across well, knocks it out of play. Minga through the lines. One back in there by Pop. Now Pedamores wants to switch the play. Picked off by Baltimore. James back to Sondi Baltimore. Forced backwards. I think Thompson's got to look up there, because you can see Baltimore was looking for that pass forward, but Thompson wasn't facing to receive the ball. She was looking to make that run in behind. Ball long here from Bronze. Has out of play before it reaches Sondi Baltimore.
Oh, and again, really sloppy. Baltimore just throws it short to James and knocks it out of play under a bit of pressure from Huth. And yeah, Chelsea just can't seem to get anything going. But it's the reaction from Wolfsburg that's most impressive. It's the way every time the ball goes out for a throw, they're picking up and they're getting on with it quickly. Usually you see sides trying to take the pace out of the game against Chelsea, but Wolfsburg want to keep this going, want to make this game as fast as possible, because right now Chelsea are not the races at all.
Absolutely, that's the way to play, isn't it? Chelsea's side look lethargic, look tired, play a high intensity, play with desire, play with urgency. You can try and catch them out. They've already caught them out once. Chelsea just didn't react. Right, back now to Peng, who's under a lot of pressure, does play out well to Lucy Bronze. Now, though, you've taken 3 players out the press there, and Bronze slows it down. Does carry it down the line well. Now looks to play it into Ellie Carpenter, who's going to get there. Does well there to take it past Lavels. Options across the box to look for. Cuts it back. Kerr's there. And that's really good defending. Janina Minga tracks her all the way. And I think she just got in front of that there from Sam Kerr. Either she's put her off or she's got in front of it. Either way, that is excellent from Janina Minga. Chelsea, first passage, good passage of play that's resulted in something material. And, well, Kerr probably should have done better.
Yeah, much better from Chelsea. Not trying to take 57 touches about everything, not trying to slow the game down. Bronze with the burst, Carpenter with the run, and suddenly 2 passes, and Chelsea went from their own third into, to having a shot on goal and in the Wolfsburg penalty area. That is much more like it.
Absolutely, and we didn't expect a quiet evening, but it's getting difficult already to keep up with the goals. But Barcelona take the lead away at Paris FC, and as it stands, confirm their place as winners of the league phase. Here's James. Cuthbert. Back to Lauren James. Bronze tries to play it through the lines there. Now Minga. Back to Lavels. Johannes. Kuva. Plays it through the lines. Here's Pop. Tries to squeeze it through. Finds Svenja Huth. Carries it forwards well. The back 3 are all too narrow. Lavels with space to work with. Clips it to the back post. Important from Naomi Germer. Ball back into the box. So from Huth, and Bright gets there. But if that had dropped a little lower, Beerenstein was unmarked.
So easy for Wolfsburg at the moment. First of all, to play through there, Pop just drops in, picks it up, reverses it around the corner to Huth. Suddenly they're away and nobody's put a foot in. Nobody's even attempted to stop it. And as you say, a good defending from Germa initially. And then the second ball was a bit lucky that it was overhit.
I think Naomi Gomez done really well. I look at Chelsea's defence falling apart at the moment. They're unmarked again, Beardenstein. Just wide, and Chelsea let off the hook. But again there, Germa's gone down. Germa's gone out wide. She's doing her job well. She'll probably do something to try and stop the cross. Who is Bright defending?
Wow.
She just stood in absolute no man's land, misjudges the header horribly. And Beardenstein's left in acres. Absolute acres. Bronze.
Oh,
Where is she going in there? And she has to make an important recovery tackle, but does win the ball back well. But Chelsea are playing themselves into trouble tonight. Tries to turn well and does find Thompson, who holds on to the ball really well in there. Alyssa Thompson now needs the support of her attacking force. Here is Lauren James. Slows it down. Back to Thompson. What could she make happen? Back to Sandy Baltimore. Now the offside flag does go up on Alyssa Thompson.
Yeah, sloppy from Thompson. Was comfortably offside there. Has to do better.
Yeah.
But Chelsea are miles off it. I mean, I don't know what... it's just the basics for Chelsea at the moment there. The ball gets played out to Bronze on the right-hand side, and I know they're under pressure, but the way to try and keep possession isn't to then dribble the ball back to where it came from, which is your own penalty area. Put your foot through it. Chelsea trying too hard at the moment to hold on to the ball. When you're under pressure, you've just got to get the basics right sometimes.
Here is Thompson. The thing is, they shouldn't be under pressure. They're under pressure because they're playing at two sides. So a lovely combination between Baltimore and James into the box. Kerr tries to get there. Can't quite. That had to be cut back. Thompson was in acres on the edge. Baltimore's got to look up there. Somehow that's out now. 40 Wolfsburg throw.
Yeah. Easily second best at the moment, Chelsea. But
yeah,
again, it's a really difficult... There's been bright sparks once they get into the final third. But too many times, playing out the back, losing the ball or getting... It's being turned over and Wolfsburg are coming at them.
Pop. And Wolfsburg caught out there. Kerr trying to hold on to the ball. Bergsvan, though, does well. It's just being physical with her at the moment.
Yeah. Body language from Chelsea speaks a lot. I think there's a lot of players at the moment who are kind of just shoulders down, shrugging their shoulders, moseying about. Not getting stuck in, not playing at 110%.
Also with the ball back to their own goalkeeper here, Johannes, playing the smart option, just knocking it out of place to the left-hand side. I don't know why that was looped back to her in the way it was. I don't blame the goalkeeper there for choosing the safe option.
Yeah. And that's exactly how you should play it when you're under pressure and you don't know how to do the ball. Yeah, Wolfsburg they know they're in a great position. I think the thing that Stefan Lerch will be concerned at the moment is that when you've got this kind of advantage against Chelsea, when you are the better side, you've got to try and make it count. And of course they are leading, but he'll want to kick on. He'll want to try and put Chelsea under more pressure. And if Wolfsburg do get a second goal, then that's really going to put the English side under in a very, very difficult position.
Yeah, in the game then between Leuven and Arsenal. It's now Arsenal 2, Leuven 0. A goal from Beth Mead set up by Alessia Russo. Johannes. Ball smashed forwards by Janina Minga. Baltimore. Walsh touches down to Baltimore. Back inside now to Kira Walsh. And she'll look to lift it to the right-hand side. Lavels went in high there. Gets away with it because it's Carpenter who's come away with the ball. Walsh, back to Bronze. And now Bright does well, shifts it quickly. Germa into Sandy Baltimore. Thompson comes inside. That's really nice stuff from Alyssa Thompson. Walsh through the lines into James, back to Baltimore. Now back inside to Lauren James. When they combine tonight, Chelsea, it looks really nice. Bronze. Ball in towards the back post. Thompson will work hard to keep this in play. Not the perfect delivery from Bronze, but Chelsea can utilise it. Here's Baltimore. Wants to take on Svenja Huth. Now needs some support. She's forced into the corner and Wolfsburg win it back. Yeah, Baltimore play herself into a bit of trouble there. Ball down the line from Wolfsburg though. And that is back in the possession of Germer with the throw.
Better from Chelsea. Just a bit of sustained pressure, a bit of calm. Which is exactly what's needed when you've been up against it for the first half an hour.
Yeah. Right, into Germer. And now Baltimore tries to play it forwards. It's one back in there by Beerenstein. Minger. And a pass back now to Bergsland. Hoover carries it forwards. And that will go out of play. Not a great pass there from Hoover.
Yeah. Wolfsburg have got to make sure they don't drop their standards. Chelsea are ebbing and flowing at the moment. You really don't know what you're going to get. 1 minute, they're playing themselves into trouble and look really shaky. The next minute, they look calm and controlled in possession. Wolfsburg, though, have got to make sure they maintain this standard. Because if they play like this, then no matter what Chelsea give them across the next 60 minutes, it's going to be hard for them to turn it around. I think Stefan Dutch will be keen for his side to not drop their standards at all.
Absolutely. Rob Wilkins on the screen saying, come on, Chelsea. Just need to up that level. Good to see the people in the live chat putting their support for the various sides. All the United and Arsenal fans cheering on Wolfsburg. Not sure why.
Yeah, you always say. Yeah, it sounds like a very good night at the moment to be an Arsenal fan.
Absolutely, but if I was an Arsenal fan, I wouldn't be watching Wolfsburg Chelsea personally. But there we go. Goal in the game between Lyonnaise and Atletico. Lyon 1, Atletico 0. No surprises there either.
Yeah, I think that'll be a very competitive and good game. I mean, obviously, we expect Lyonnaise to get the result there, but Atletico have enjoyed a very decent season so far.
Yeah.
And I think that...
It's an own goal from Boarisa. Ball in from Lavels. Claimed well by Livia Peng. Yeah, I think Lyon should have that very comfortably, but we'll see. I've not been impressed by Atleti this season. I know you've been more impressed.
Yeah, I think I've done very well.
Germer sends it forwards, bounces through. Bergsvand out now to the right-hand side. And Linda forced back into Bergsvand. Minger, Bergsvand again. And now Johannes.
Too easy. It's too easy for Wolfsburg. You look at this. Kuva and Johannes have got so much. They can do whatever they want with the ball.
We'll see. One back in there well by Walsh. Here's Kerr. Holds it up well. Now James. Thompson. James. Out wide into Baltimore. He puts the ball into the area. Now chance for Kerr. And he can't turn it goalwards. Big mistake from Johannes at the front post. And that should be 1-1.
Wow.
Brilliant from Baltimore here to create the space for the cross. Johannes makes a meal of it. Kerr just doesn't anticipate it. Lacking perhaps that instinctive goal-scoring ability that we're used to seeing from Sam Kerr, and that should be 1-0. Chelsea, though, getting back into this one.
Yeah, better last few minutes from Chelsea, but that has to go from Sam Kerr. 3-4 yards out from goal. Open goal in front of you. Just got to make any kind of contact with the football, and seems to scuff it and not catch it properly at all. Bouncing off her knee almost and going wide. That's a massive opportunity missed.
Germer. Now Bronze pass to Walsh, looking to find Carpenter. That cleared away well by Wolfsburg. Oscar says 30 minutes played. If things remain like this, both German teams will join Barca Lyon in the top 4. Yeah. Minger. It's brilliant. I mean, Wolfsburg have done well to come back, but I've not, watching them earlier in this competition, wasn't impressed. Here's Alyssa Thompson, wins it back, feeds it through for Lauren James, who should score. And another player who perhaps not looking sharp after coming back from injury, because you'd expect Lauren James to score that. 1-on-1 with a keeper. That should be 1-1 again. And that's 2 big chances now for Chelsea in a matter of minutes.
Yeah, it's one of those for Lauren James. She should be disappointed because of the amount of time she had to make that decision. It's got to go across goal there. So obvious that she's got to go across goal there. And the time that she had there, it's the ball very nicely, let the ball roll across her body into her right foot, but got to go across the goal there.
Baltimore in towards the back post, pushed away by Johannes. Now Walsh. Carpenter. Lifts out to the right-hand side. Baltimore with space to work with. Closed down quickly by Levels. Has to use Bright there. Now Millie Bright, ball in. Not a great delivery. Headed away by Pop. It's going to drop for Bronze, who has to strike it here. Just doesn't do well. It does take a deflection, though. And that is out for a Chelsea corner. Goals for the way in some of the other games. Roma extend their advantage over SKN St Polten's 2-0. Benfica draw level with PSG. Carol Costa from the spot. PSG winning was never going to last long. Georgia Stanway's missed a penalty for Bayern Munich.
Wow. Good reaction, though, from Chelsea. Last 5 minutes have been much better than anything we saw in that first half an hour.
Yeah, Baltimore now. Puts it in towards the back post and it's headed away and Bronze goes down. But no issues there. Here's Bergsvand. Looking to send it forwards. Not a good pass at all, though, from Guro Bergsvand. That's out for a Chelsea throw-in. Now look to bring it up the line, Chelsea. As you say, just the momentum shifted in this game. Chelsea's starting to get chances, starting to get shots away. The question will be now whether they can convert them. 2 big opportunities. And Thompson there barreled down by Pedamores, referee, turning a blind eye to it. Here's Peng. Rolls it to Bright. And now Bronze. Down the line into Ellie Carpenter. Let's go down the line, but Lavels wins it back, and then Carpenter siding her down. And she's going away from goal there. Showing us how does Sam Kerr not score from there? Well, yeah, Sam Kerr and Lauren James both with absolute gilt-edged opportunities. And that changed the game. Wolfsburg, 1 shot on target in this match. Yet to create anything really of note. But Chelsea, the architects of their own downfall for that goal. And the Chelsea created 2 huge opportunities, 2 must-score opportunities. And James and Kerr both not doing well enough in those positions. Huth here swings the free kick in. It'll bounce around the area. Walsh tries to get it clear. Beerenstein takes aim. That one's blocked. And Germer hooking it away. And now it's with Alexandra Pop. Huth trying to open up space for the cross. Plays it into Bussy. Wolfsburg looking to create an opportunity. Pass inside. Here's Janina Minger. Puts it into the box. Chance now for Beerenstein. Wow. That's blocked. A mess at the back again for Chelsea. Bronze gets it out. Minger now doesn't do well with that one. Baltimore clipping it forwards. Kerr gets it down. Tries to play it to Thompson. Just a lack of understanding between those two, seemingly. But Thompson does keep the ball. Here's Bronze. Carpenter wants to take on Lavels. Has Bronze in support. Does now use her. Cuthbert. Bronze. Now Walsh. And here is Lauren James. He's going to put it into the box. Good ball, but it's a good header. Coover got back in. Saw the run occur. Managed to block the ball. Chelsea throwing now high at the pitch.
Yeah. Again, football is a game of opportunities. Lauren James and Sam Kerr definitely should have scored by now. Beerenstein there, though, with a massive opportunity to make it 2-0. Just seemed to be, again, found herself with absolute acres, no one near her. But a massive block from Bronze to keep the scoreline at only 1.
Lauren James dispossessed too easy there by Pop. And now smashed forwards and headed away by Germer. I have to say, decision to play Lauren James, as brilliant a footballer as she is, has to be called into question. would you not have gone for someone like Vika Kaptein? Buildup says the delusion of these people thinking Chelsea would just casually walk into Wolfsburg and take the win. If you're referring to us, I don't think we ever said that. And also, based on the merit of play, Chelsea have played the better stuff, just lacked the clinicality. And been poor out from the back. If anything, based on the first 40 minutes, Wolfsburg should have done better. Pop there committing the foul, bringing down Thompson.
Yeah, again, good from Thompson. Just skips past Pop, and it was a soft one, but it was enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, just caught her. She ran away.
This was that chance, though. Pedamores did really well here to beat Germer. Beerenstein completely unmarked in there.
It's incredible how much space she had around that penalty spot area. No one's near her. Big let off for Chelsea, that one.
Yeah. Yeah, the midfield for Chelsea tonight and the defence, it's struggling. We've not really seen that Cuthbert Walsh pivot struggle, though. It tends to be the back line, and don't get me wrong, Bronze and Bright have made mistakes, but the pivot aren't doing great either. Here is Cuthbert with this free kick. What can they make happen? Ball into the right sort of area, but it's Guro Bergvand who attacks it. Bright puts it back up in the air, and it will drop now. A game of headers results in Bright winning on the edge of the box. They've bitten and starting to possess her too easy, and it's 3-on-2 here for Wolfsburg, and Chelsea won't get back in quick enough. Huth plays it across Bussy with the chance to score. Brilliant from Lucy Bronze. One of the two players back, and she does really well there to block the shot. But once again, what is Millie Bright trying to do in that position? How does she not see Lynette Beerenstein? And Chelsea exposed on the counter.
Such a good tackle from Bronze. Brilliant tackle. But yet again, Wolfsburg coming at Chelsea with pace, with intensity. And again, Chelsea struggling to contain it. And Bronze with another huge block. Denied Beerenstein a moment ago. And now another big tackle to deny Bussy. But again, Wolfsburg, if anything, Wolfsburg are starting to get better chances than they were in the opening stages.
Yeah, well, arguably, that Beerenstein chance, Wolfsburg's best chance of the game. And Chelsea just struggling to defend transitions right now. Huth with the corner. No, not a great one. Trying to hit the front post, but Kuva got the header, and that's straight into the side netting.
Yeah, again, I think Wolfsburg would have liked to have try and utilise these set pieces, the corners and the free kicks. Try to be a bit more dangerous from them.
Bronze now Carpenter under pressure there from Pedamores does really well. Cuthbert, Walsh, now Germer. Into Sondy Baltimore. And that's a pass now in behind, looking for Thompson. And that cleared out of play for a corner by Guro Bergvand. He's frustrated because that didn't need to go for a corner at all. And Chelsea could capitalise on that mistake, though. If their corners are anything like they've been recently, Wolfsburg have nothing to worry about.
Yeah, needs to be on the money from Chelsea. Will be a very, very good time to score as we're approaching the end of the first half. Chelsea will realise that it's quite important if they can try and level in this 45 minutes.
Cuthbert over this, plays it short. Into James, opens up space for the cross, not great. And Bussy there looping it towards her own goal. That's out for another Chelsea corner.
Yeah, doing Lauren James' favour there, Bussy. Turning that one goalwards because it was not a very good ball in from Lauren James at all.
And Baltimore over to take this one. Well, hopefully we don't need Bon Pastor to scream at her in French. Again, Baltimore, much better delivery into the right area. No one attacking it, really. And it's lashed away by Bussy. Chelsea are really going for it on these set pieces, leaving one player back, putting everyone else forwards.
It's risky.
It's what saw them get opened up a few moments ago. I wouldn't be too worried if you've got centre-backs who can recover really quickly, but you don't.
Yeah.
We saw Bright trying to get back in a few moments ago. So, yeah, I have to say I'm a little surprised. Thompson into Kurt, lays it back to Thompson, who lets it go to Lauren James, who takes aim. Side netting from James. Has it taken a deflection? It has. That will be a Chelsea corner. Brilliant again. Lauren James, in terms of her movement, just doesn't quite look match sharp yet, which is understandable. She hasn't played football much this season. A red card, by the way, in the Atletico game. Luani sent off for a hair pull. That is silly. Here's Cuthbert with the corner. Ball on top of the goalkeeper. Headed home, and Chelsea level here away at Wolfsburg. And they sustained some early pressure. They weren't punished for early mistakes. And now they've come back and they find an equaliser. And they have to say that was coming. Chelsea had the opportunities, didn't take them. Lucy Bronzo does make good on this one. And finally this season, Chelsea convert a corner.
Yeah, not as clear-cut as the other opportunities, but almost forced over the line by Lucy Bronze. Chelsea packing players in at the front post, and Bronze managing to flick it over Johannes, who will be disappointed. Bit of weak goalkeeping there from the Wolfsburg goalkeeper, which is uncharacteristic. We saw her get smashed into against Real Madrid for a piece of brave goalkeeping, but lacked it there. Could have needed to command her area a bit better, and allows Bronze to get ahead of her and flick it past her. But a big goal and a good time for Chelsea to score just before the break.
Absolutely, a minute of additional time. So I think that's fitting, not much. This goes in high octane, not much stoppage time. Pass through the lines. Bright wins it back in there, and Chelsea now looking to capitalise. James couldn't quite feed that ball through. Pass now over the top from Bergsman. Cut out well by Bright. Good drop in midfield. Cuthbert wins the nod on. Thompson back now to James, who plays it out to Baltimore. If Chelsea want time to score in this game, they're going to have to play it quickly, and I think it will just ebb away in this first half, which I think Chelsea will be a bit frustrated about. They haven't taken momentum. You know, they're playing some nice football. It's all going to open up, and that is the half-time whistle. Wolfsburg 1, Chelsea 1. A slow start to the half for the Blues, and Wolfsburg capitalise on a casual error from Livia Peng. Alexandra Pott volleying that one home. Chelsea, though, had big opportunities. Kerr missed at close range. Lauren James couldn't convert a one-on-one. But Lucy Bronze heads home to see Chelsea in at level at the break. It's Wolfsburg 1, Chelsea 1.
Not a convincing half from Chelsea, but it got better and better as the 45 minutes went on, and that kind of peaked with a goal just before the break. But yeah, certainly work to do for the Blues. Some positives, of course. And as you say, if Chelsea had taken those glaring opportunities, then maybe it would be a different game. But they are still in this one. Wolfsburg have been very, very good for the majority of that 45 minutes. And yeah, I think Chelsea did well to work their way into the half, because that first 25 minutes was all Wolfsburg. It was one-way traffic. Chelsea couldn't really find a way to get out. And even when they did cut a break, there weren't brilliant chances. But after that half an hour mark, Chelsea just seemed to steady the ship a little bit, get on the ball and start to play their own football. But yeah, massive credit to the Wolfsburg, the home side, because they've put on a very, very good performance. We knew they'd make it difficult for Chelsea tonight, but I think with that first half an hour, they probably caught a lot of people out.
I think one of the interesting things that I was going to criticise Bonpastor for, but I think is actually smart from the oppositions, is that on Sunday against a Brighton side who played a low block, Bonpastor opted for Beaver Jones from the start. And that didn't really work, and then obviously they brought on Kerr and it changed the game. But you would expect a high line from Brighton, so perhaps there was method to the madness. Today's game against a Wolfsburg side who've sat deep in a lot of games this season, they play Sam Kerr, which makes sense. And Wolfsburg raise their line and play really high up the field, and Chelsea haven't really, been able to get in behind. You'd think that Beaver Jones would be the obvious sub in this second half with all that space in behind the Wolfsburg defence. We've seen Sam Kerr really struggling to deal with the physicality of Kuva and Bergsman, who are both just trying to rough her up every time. I think Chelsea will probably look to Beaver Jones, which we'll discuss more changes towards the end of this half-time break. But yeah, I think it was a first half where Chelsea just kept getting better. They started really slowly. There was a lot of mistakes. Wolfsburg pressed them really aggressively, pressed them high up the field. and made it difficult really for Chelsea to play out from the back. And we saw Brighton Bronze make a number of errors, especially as Chelsea looked to play it to the right hand side. I think that was strategic from Wolfsburg, forcing it in that direction. They know that they're slightly slower players, particularly Millie Bright. I think you can see Wolfsburg were giving Bright a moment on the ball, then pressing aggressively. You can see that was the trigger. And they really capitalised on that, and it was just too slow from Chelsea at times. So you'd see Bright pick up the ball from Peng and then go into Bronze, and Bronze would be under pressure. So you'd try and loop it up the line, and that then Wolfsburg were in the position to deal with that. And that sort of continued for most of the first half. What Chelsea were able to do really effectively, though, was actually start to be a little bit more urgent, deeper in the field, get that ball going, progress the ball a lot quicker. I think that we saw Walsh and Cuthbert dropping into deeper areas to receive the ball. What we saw was Chelsea move it really not. The combination plays are really nice, and I think that's what you're going to get, especially on the left-hand side, which Chelsea did really well, was quickly move the ball into midfield, then back out to the left-hand side. We saw that Wolfsburg were forcing it to Chelsea's right. Chelsea used that, played then onto Wolfsburg's right-hand side, onto Chelsea's left-hand side. They could see that Wolfsburg wanted to force it one direction. And then what we saw was the way that Baltimore, Thompson, James were all able to combine. And what you get, and the tactical upside of playing Baltimore in that sort of wing-back role, is that in attacking moments, you end up with 3 dynamic wide players all in the same pocket of space. And that's where Chelsea have really caused the damage in that first half, is once they were able to get out, they've been really threatening on the left-hand side. And this is why, despite the fact that Chelsea were shaky at the start of the half and they only go into the game level, and I would have some concerns over the defensive mistakes. I think marking's been really poor. We'll get to some of those chances as we watch the replays in a moment. I think that's been really poor, but ultimately Chelsea have looked really good coming forwards, creating their own opportunities. I think for Wolfsburg, they've done really well to capitalise on Chelsea. But the question is now, how do they respond to how Chelsea are now looking to play? And how do they create chances of their own? Because that's not what they've done yet this evening. They've done really well at pressing Chelsea aggressively, getting those high turnovers, and then capitalising and creating shots. They've done really well when Chelsea have committed high to be able to break away, but we haven't really seen Wolfsburg create anything on merit.
Yeah, it's exactly what I spoke about in the build-up. I thought they've had a decent campaign, but you look at the games they've won this season, and they've relied on other teams to make the errors. PSG, Man United, Valencia. They relied on the opposition making the mistakes. And obviously, of course, some of those mistakes were forced, and massive credit to them for that. But there's others where they, you look back at some of those games, and it was really poor football from their opposition. They did well to pounce on it, and again, it's been very similar tonight. They've done well to force the errors from Chelsea and pounce on sloppy and slow mistakes. But once Chelsea sorted it out and became a little bit stronger on the ball and were a bit more secure in possession, it did then become more difficult for Wolfsburg. And again, I mentioned it as the half went on, was how long could they keep that intensity up for? And it just seemed to kind of coincide as Chelsea were improving. That intensity from Wolfsburg did just drop a little bit, which is exactly what we expected. There was no way they could play at that rate for 45 minutes of football. It was ridiculous. But yeah, it's one of those where I think that, again, this game for me has been exactly what we've seen from Wolfsburg all Champions League campaign, where they've done well to force errors and to pounce on mistakes. But once the opposition sort themselves out and start to come at them defensively, then they have been caught out a little bit. For Wolfsburg, it's been very much like attack is the best form of defence. If they've managed to stop teams by just being aggressive and not letting them come at them, but once they get played through, they seem to be in a real spot of bother.
I think Wolfsburg are a side who are better suited to playing against top teams, because as we've seen with sort of like was it Valencia they played earlier in the competition. When they play those kind of games, what we don't see from Wolfsburg is them being able to create chances of their own. But what they're really good at doing is capitalise on mistakes from teams trying to play out from the back.
Yeah.
And I think Wolfsburg's out of possession structures is quite decent to start with. I think they're really good at being able to understand they've got good pressing triggers. I think they're really good at forcing the press in a certain direction to be able to, in order to gain those tactical upsides. But the issue is that I think that their defenders, their sort of backline is really physical, but as soon as you get in behind, you're going to cause a problem. As Kade says, you guys are right. Pacer Thompson's creating problems for the Wolfsburg defence. Maybe Aggie could use the pace again. I think the only downside for me of bringing someone like a Beaver Jones on now is that, yes, it would up Chelsea's transitional threat, but we are seeing moments where Chelsea are getting the ball through the lines, but then are being slowed down. And in those moments, you need a box presence to aim for, or at least someone that's going to make those runs and draw the space for someone, on the edge of the box. So, yeah, I think it's been okay for Chelsea, though. It started sloppily, and I think there are mistakes. I think at the start of the season, Bright and Bronze were making errors, particularly Millie Bright, especially in that sort of back two, that weren't capitalised on because Hannah Hampton's just a ridiculously good goalkeeper. Now, you're not going to get that same level from Olivia Peng. No one expected her to come in and provide that. I think what Peng has been is a decent shot stopper, but Peng's got a lot of work to do in terms of having the ball at her feet, and obviously isn't as good a shot stopper as someone like a Hannah Hampton. So there is going to be a massive downgrade. I think also Chelsea have got to recognise that there is an over-reliance there in terms of the style in which they play, of having someone like Hannah Hampton, and you don't get many goalkeepers like Hannah Hampton. Now, if they can have a situation where Peng is comfortable coming into the side, then that's okay, but, I think it has been quite a significant downgrade where Hampton was bailing them out, and now Chelsea are suffering. But broadly, apart from defensive errors, they've not. It's not structural, I don't think, for Chelsea. When I look at how Wolfsburg are creating their chances tonight, I don't think it's a structural issue.
Yeah, no, I think that the best opportunities have just come from Chelsea getting the basics wrong, whether it's playing out the back and making a poor pass, whether it's the Beerenstein one where she's still in the penalty spot and there's nobody near her. That's not down to how they're set up. That's down to absolutely nobody taking control of that penalty area and making sure someone's tight to Beerenstein. Doesn't seem like anyone's talking to each other in that Chelsea backline, and it's what we spoke about being the main problem for Manchester United against Tottenham and, Man United overall at the moment, because they seem really poor defensively, was just that lack of communication, lack of organisation. We've seen that a bit from Chelsea this season, but not too much. And again, we've seen it a bit tonight. There just seems to be a little bit of a lack of organisation, and I think in the same way that the common denominator I see across those two sides is that when the captain's not playing well. For United, it's Letitia. For Chelsea, it's Millie Bright. When the captain isn't performing and isn't leading by example, the organisation and the defence around them seem to just fall away a little bit. And I think we're starting to see that for both sides, because as a captain, if you're playing well, then you have the mental capacity to worry about the rest of the back line. But if you're not performing, then you have to focus on what you're doing a bit more. Usually the class and the standard we see the likes of Brighton and Letitia play to, it doesn't seem to be a problem at all, because they know how good they are. So then they can focus on making sure the rest of the defence is working well and be that leader. But when you're not playing well, you have to focus a bit more on what you're doing as an individual, which means then you're not focused on what your defence is doing, and then you lose that organisation. And if your captain's not organising that back line, then who else is going to step in and take control of that? But yeah, I think Chelsea again, just organisation and communication defensively would have stopped 3/4 of those Wolfsburg chances in the first half. So if you cut the simple errors out, then it becomes much easier for Chelsea.
I think there are definitely some parallels. You mentioned Manchester United. I think there's some parallels between Chelsea and United. I think in terms of both sides struggling to deal without their first choice goalkeeper, perhaps having a slight over-reliance there on their goalkeeper, not only in terms of their ability to make up perhaps for any defensive lapses, but also in terms of communication. I think it's so undervalued how important a goalkeeper's role is in terms of being able to guide the team, because they can see the entire pitch and their communication is always quite strong. For the best goalkeepers, it's all about being able to communicate effectively. I think as well, you've got fatigue coming in. I think for United, obviously playing every game is clearly impacting their players, but I think that leads then to those mistakes coming into their game. I think for Chelsea, it's a similar kind of story. I think Bronze and Bright are now at the stage in their career where they can't play 2 times a week every week, because they are older players and they are clearly struggling with that fatigue side of their game. So yeah, there are parallels there. I think the differences obviously are abundant. I think that and obviously different structures entirely, but also you've got Bronze Bronze's issues are coming from her unfamiliarity with that role in terms of playing that right centre-half role. At right back, you're looking to progress up the line, so you're looking to receive on your side. At right centre-half, you can do that, but you've also got to bear in mind that you can't just knock it out of play. You don't. The proximity to the touchline is very different. You can't just sort of rely on being able to knock it out of play to the same extent in which a right back can, and also the errors in terms of trying to play forwards. You can't take as many risks playing that sort of right centre half role because it's much more central in the field, which is more dangerous, and much deeper in the field, which is more dangerous. Yeah. So, yeah, I think just coming in terms of that new role really for Lucy Bronze, I think it makes sense that her player as a centre back because we saw her recovery pace come in really handy. And I think when you've got Ellie Carpenter who can play that right wing back role, it's not too you don't really need Bronze as the world's best backup. So I think it's a smart use of her. It'll just be interesting to see how she adapts to that role. Looking like a change for Chelsea here, which is Sjoeke Nusken, which I have to say I don't disagree with. I think Chelsea's midfield is the constant that's worked this season.
Yeah.
While everything around hasn't really, that midfield's been really solid. Tonight though, that's definitely shifted. I think Cuthbert and Walsh haven't looked as sharp as we would have liked, haven't looked as comfortable as we would have expected. Obviously, Cuthbert was out injured, so potentially we're just seeing the ramifications of that. But yeah, Walsh has looked a little bit poor in positionally, and I think that has been a shame. So I'd assume it's Nusken into midfield. I wouldn't be surprised if it's somehow like Nusken on for James and then, into that 10 role, but I would expect it's Nusken into the pivot.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's important to freshen it up, and I'm glad to see Sjoeke Nusken picking up some more minutes now back from her injury. Ossie was very, very good against Roma last week. And yeah, I think a player that, as you say, can play a big role for Chelsea because you can't rely on two players to put in 10 out of 10 performances every single week. That is impossible as human beings. Players can't do that. Becomes too difficult. But I think Nusken's definitely a player that can come into that rotation and still deliver to her and still do the job to a very high quality.
A quick Rifi, welcome to the stream, says there was a small moment in the first half where Chelsea fizzed the ball around quickly. Wolfsburg couldn't keep up. Maybe they should try it some more in the second half. This is what I mentioned at the start of the halftime segment about how Chelsea shifted their build-up or shifted how they were building up. Wolfsburg were looking to force it to Chelsea's right-hand side, and Chelsea did really well to respond to that by then playing it into midfield quickly to get it out to the left-hand side. And what obviously you get from Baltimore, James and Thompson, is those three are all very good attacking players. Baltimore playing in that role, you get the tactical upside, the fact that she's a winger, by de facto winger. And I think those three combining has been really good. They're all very technically gifted, wide players, very dynamic players, and we're seeing a lot of rotation in those sort of positions, and that's worked out really well. And that is something Wolfsburg have really struggled to deal with. Phil saying, hardest part of being a defender is being the one who leads it and has to be proactive and decisive. It's a rare trait to have. Bright is slowing down and having to second guess herself at times. Absolutely. I think not only is she having to second guess herself, but she's also slower to react to things, so she often gets there too late. And she's also, the other problem is that she can't get back in, so she can't let a player past her, because if not, she's done.
Yeah.
So many times this season we see a player gets around her and she has to commit the foul. If not, it just opens up too much space. O'Keefe Gary's saying, just come in. How is Kerr doing? Struggling, I have to say, on Sam Kerr. I thought Kerr was fantastic on Sunday, but struggling at the moment, Harry.
Yeah, she is. I think it's, again, as you said, Wolfsburg have gone very, very high and they're being very, very combative. They've been intense, and I think you can just tell that Sam Kerr not only is losing that physical battle, but is still not 100% match sharp, 100% to full fitness. I think there's been and of course it's frustrating, but I think there's been a few times where she's gone up for that challenge, lost it, and the reaction is to kind of just, relax again and walk around, which is not what you need. You need to match that intensity if you want to turn the ball over, if you want to be competitive. And I think that there's just been a couple of times where that reaction, that second ball intensity from Kerr hasn't been there, which is understandable because she's been out for so long. And Bright at the point in the game she came on against Brighton, it wasn't really needed because Brighton weren't being very intense at all. But in this game, when Wolfsburg are stepping in with that first ball, as a striker, you've got to be sharp to pounce on the second ball, and Kerr's just struggling to do that at the moment.
Yeah, she's just struggling a bit with the physicality. As, by the way, change is Lauren James coming off the field. Still coming back, of course, from injury. Shoka Nusken on in her place. Chelsea get us back underway. Kerr knocks it back. We're back underway for another 45 minutes. So that is going to change what Chelsea's structure looks like. I think it will be much more, or a bit more rigid. I think we'll see Nusken drop into a bit more of a deeper role. I think that will see Cuthbert freed up to be a little bit higher. And those two will then sort of play as slightly higher midfielders, with Walsh as almost a single pivot at times. I think that will push Thompson a little bit more central and almost like a second striker in there. And we've seen elements of that anyway, with her trying to play off the shoulder almost of Kerr and James in that midfield role. But obviously with Nusken, it's much more structured now. And there will be less reliance on Thompson to get back and do any defensive work. This is nice from Chelsea. It's Carpenter breaking down the right-hand side, looking to get the cut back. Here's Thompson. Does want to hold it up, and it's against the post. Lovely stuff from Thompson. Unlucky not to find the target. Baltimore back in towards the back post. Touchdown looking for Kerr. And that is cleared away. Bronze will keep this move alive now. Walsh. Got to go back in the box here from Chelsea. Cuthbert does put it in there. That's blocked. Going to drop for Kira Walsh. Now into Carpenter down the line. Walsh puts it in. It's up in the air. Kerr trying to make this happen. Now going to drop for Nusken, but actually it's Huth who gets there first and clears the ball away. Bit of reluctancy there from Kira Walsh just to swing that back in. I think if she had, it could have caused a little bit more confusion, but just delayed. That gave Wolfsburg time to get their box defending right.
Yeah, good, as you say, good reaction and good intensity there from Chelsea. But I think that between Walsh and Cuthbert, they kind of just killed it a little bit on that right hand side. With not what you need to do. If you're going to start hard and fast, and you've got the opposition on the back foot, then you've got to go for the kill. Got to keep them under pressure, and choosing to slow it down or recycle the possession there, I think, let Wolfsburg off the hook a little bit.
Absolutely. Vladislav, welcome to the stream, saying, not sure what to make of current Wolfsburg. I think they are a very difficult side to assess. I would say I think they're really good against high possession sides. I think they're really good out of possession. Nusken. Now Cuthbert feeds it through for Kerr. Back to Cuthbert. Should take aim. Does take aim. Big save from Johannes. And yeah, Chelsea getting into their groove in this second half. Yeah, on Wolfsburg, I think that, they're a side who are really good at pressing high and stopping teams. So I think once teams get through, their defending hasn't been great. It's been quite open at times. I think as well, they're not particularly good at actually playing football themselves. They're quite good at being able to make the most of defensive errors from other teams, but not particularly good at creating chances for themselves.
Yeah, they're giant killers. And that is the concern for the big sides once we get to the knockouts, is that Wolfsburg have got the ability and got the players to beat anyone on their day, but as you say, they're very much a side that look to pounce on errors and to play underdog football. So they're giant killers because of their quality, but they're not going to turn up and smash anyone or dominate any games. But they are they'll be a side that you just don't want to play them across two legs in a knockout match. You just do not want to play Wolfsburg.
I don't know. I think it depends. I think they are definitely a side who can spring surprises, but I think actually over two legs, they're easier to beat.
Maybe.
Because I think once you've figured out what they're doing, which you should do in 90 minutes, it becomes easier to deal with them. I think even in 45, or even within the first 45 here, Chelsea were able to go from, Wolfsburg kept turning it over to towards the end of the half, where Wolfsburg just couldn't do anything. And we've come to the second half, and it seems like that has resumed, though Chelsea are struggling to play out from the back here. And there we see Wolfsburg high press come into effect. And they're very good at pressing. I think they are a well-structured pressing unit. But outside of that, I don't think Wolfsburg are much special, which is a shame. Here is Baltimore. Going to go down the line. And she will look to find Aaron Cuthbert in there. Menga does well, but Cuthbert shrugs her off. She's got options to the left and right. Will look to find Carpenter in Akers on the right-hand side. Now coming across in support is Bronze. Here's Cuthbert. Nice turn in there. Walsh. A lot of space for Chelsea to use. Bronze. Walsh. Back to Bronze. They're looking to chip it down the line. Cuthbert does well, trying to open up a bit of space. Minga, though, does better and wins it back. Hoover. The pressure, does well, carries it forwards, now into Bussy. Who's just made it over halfway. Minga. Bussy.
I think what makes the next 40 minutes of this game very interesting is that it's not going to be one of those where Wolfsburg are going to get deeper and deeper and Chelsea are going to have to, work hard to break them down, because a draw serves nobody. Wolfsburg need a win tonight, and they don't really. I mean, obviously a loss would hurt them, but they're through at the very least. So a draw helps nobody. So both these sides will want to go for the win, will want to go and get a goal. So it's good. I think that, towards the end, if it is still 1-1, it could become very transitional and very direct from both sides.
Yeah, Walsh does well. They're under pressure from Pop, just bringing the contact. And does well to go down. She's always looking to win that. Going nowhere, really, Kira Walsh. And Pop, quick to apologise. Here is Bronze. Goes back now to Peng. That's an absolute hospital ball from Lucy Bronze. And Peng does well to bail her out, but dear.
Wow.
That could have been latched on by Lynette Beerenstein. What was Bronze doing?
And that is just simple concentration and laziness. Lack of concentration and laziness. Just casually, knocks the ball back to Peng and gets away one massively.
Here is Olivia Peng as Chelsea win it back. After that, Wolfsburg throw out to the right-hand side. Carpenter brings it down. And now it's with Bright, who can step up into midfield, looking to play it down the line into Kerr. Good hold up from Kerr, around the corner, looking for Carpenter. Important touch from Kuva, who can now take the ball forwards. Tries to slot it through. Beerenstein holds it up well. Now needs support, though, of her teammates. Goes back to Levels. And now all the way back to Johannes. Bergsvant into Kuva. Second goal in the game as well, by the way, between Earl Lyonès and Atletico Madrid. A penalty converted by Wendy Renard. Wolfsburg coming forward down the left-hand side. Beerenstein gets the better of Bronze, tries to play it forward into Bussy. Bright will get there and knocks it out for a corner. And that should have been better from Lucy Bronze. We'll look back again at that free kick. That is so silly. Olivia Payne bailing her out. But she just made it so readable. Beerenstein was on a bike before she even played the pass, Bronze.
Yeah.
The third goal in the game, by the way, for Lyonès. A minute after that penalty, Diani scored. And Atleti struggling down to 10. Here is Huth over this corner. Ball in. And that will bounce through. Germa's going to get there and pokes it out of play. That's really good defending from Naomi Germa.
Yeah, I think both sides still find their feet a little bit in the second half. Oh, Bonpastor reacting with a change.
Absolutely, and that's going to be Joanna Ritten-Carnerid on for Ellie Carpenter. So a more offensive change, really, from Chelsea. I don't think Carpenter was playing too poorly out there, actually, but there we go.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that one.
I don't hate the change. I'm just, intrigued by it.
Yeah.
I guess in terms of rotation, Carnerid hasn't played loads recently, but.
And you'd like to think Carpenter would start the League Cup quarter-final against Liverpool. So, yeah.
Yeah, possibly. Beerenstein wins it back in there. It's just clumsy at the moment. Chelsea got to wait back up because, it's their mistakes that are leading to Wolfsburg having these opportunities.
Yeah, Chelsea just slipped back into the way where they found themselves in the opening minutes of this game. It's really weird. Bronze there decided to stand still and let Beerenstein run at her.
Stepped off her. I just can't understand that.
She could have just jumped into the ball.
Maybe that's just being a fullback. But then again, when she's at fullback, she decides to dive in anyway. So thank God she didn't do that and just fly into Beerenstein. Right, really physical there with Beerenstein. Does well. She had to be careful, but she was. Flicked on well there by Huth, looking for Minger. Dispossessed by Walsh, and here's Baltimore. Chelsea have a numerical overload. They should make it work. Ball down the line, and enthusiastically slid out of play by Linda.
I have to say, this is anyone's game. This is absolutely anyone's game. I don't think this first 9 minutes of the second half has told us anything about who's going to end up winning this one.
Right, Walsh, Nuscombe. I think it's very much in Chelsea's hands. And if they keep playing like this is lovely football. Cuthbert into Carnereid. Options in the box now. Cut chops towards her left foot, and that's cleared away. It's going to drop for Nuscombe on the edge. Touch isn't great. Walsh, though, will create the space, and that well struck effort, but straight down the throat of Johannes. But if Chelsea put together combinations like that and are more clinical, they'll win this game. If they keep giving the ball away in their own third, if they keep making errors, Wolfsburg are going to capitalise on that eventually.
Yeah, really good. Much better from Chelsea. I love watching Carnereid play because you just know exactly what's going to happen. You just know she's going to chop back there. But as a defender, you still can't read it.
It was the way they did well there. But there was so long for her to put it on her right foot, and she still waits. You think, is she get across it? Nope, chop. But you have to defend in case she does once cross it on her right foot. Germa does really well there to send Huth. Kurt under pressure. That too forceful from Guro Bergsvand. As she just goes through the back there of Sam Kerr.
Yeah, I think Kerr is struggling a little bit.
Is he fair every time she's got the ball? She's been lumped in.
Yeah, I know. I think she did well there to hold the ball. I mean, she looked really tired.
Right, drilling it out towards the right-hand side. Carnereid's touch is positive. Yeah. Can she put it into the box? Oh, fortunately, might show it back, but she cuts it back with the pass. Nuscombe through to Carnereid. Nice stuff. Options in the box. Cuts it for Cuthbert. Oh. And that is at the only place of the goal that it's not going to go in. Volleyed well, but it's straight at Johannes, who was absolutely lost in that goal. And if it was anywhere to the left, that was in.
I'll tell you what.
Really should be 2-1.
Cuthbert's expecting Johannes to fly across goal there, and she's tried to send it back from where the goalkeeper's come from, but Johannes just didn't get across back to the centre.
Yeah, I don't know how much it is. I think Cuthbert it's just sort of she's hit it.
Yeah,
it's it's a volley. It's difficult to sort of get that direction, but yeah, just got to aim it left and it's in. Ball in towards the front post. And that cleared away well. Kuva got there ahead of Kerr, and it's out now for a Chelsea corner. But let's have a look back at that opportunity. Really positive here from Carnereid. Cuts it back for Nuscombe. And this is smart stuff between Nuscombe and Carnereid. Great movement from Carnereid. Creates the chance. Great run for Cuthbert. And yeah, she's not looked there at where the goalkeeper is. You can see she doesn't look up. She's watching the ball, and she has to because it's in the air. Ball in from Baltimore. Headed up by Kuva. Chance now. It will bounce around. Falls for Walsh on the edge, whose effort is blocked, and Bronze goes for the acrobatic one. But, well, the less said about that one, the better.
Yeah, again, unnecessarily acrobatic that from Bronze, but well wide. But again, Chelsea just ebbing and flowing in this game. The first 5 minutes of the second half was good. The next 5 wasn't great. And then the last 5 has been really, really good. Just incredible how we've seen these peaks and troughs from Chelsea.
Kevin Flaherty says, do Chelsea have any ready-made replacements for Brighton Bronze in the near future? Well, look, I think that was the reason Carpenter came in last summer, was to be that option at right back / right wing back. Germa now to Baltimore. Still think Bronze got another season in there, by the way. As for Bright, well, Chelsea have a few centre-halves they'll be relying on, but it's the poor dispossession.
Wow.
How it's Bussy in that much space. Bronze does get back in now. It's overhit, and that lets Chelsea off. Bussy, ball in. Chance for Wolfsburg, headed down by Baltimore. Miscommunication between Cuthbert there and Thompson. And what are Chelsea doing at the back today? Ball into the box. Bright wins the header, and Thompson now will try and play out.
No.
Cuthbert's limp body still in the way. Strike now from Linda. Tipped over brilliantly by Livia paying so much has just happened there.
It's an absolute car crash. How have Wolfsburg not taken advantage of any of that? The initial ball out to Bussy was a massive let-off. That had to be a better pass. And then as it got cut back, Thompson and Cuthbert run into each other. And as the ball gets recycled out, Chelsea turn it over. Thompson looks to turn away.
How does that ever happen? Communication. You've got to talk in there.
They just smash into each other. And then even better still, when Thompson tries to drive the ball out, she gets tackled by Cuthbert, who's just lying on the floor.
Yeah.
Dear, oh dear. Oh, and Lucy Bronze also needs to sit down now. But Wolfsburg will feel like they really should have taken advantage of some of these Chelsea errors.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, where was Bronze on that initial pass?
She just didn't get back after the mistake. Like, she just stood high at the pitch. Luckily, it was a really poor pass for Bronze's sake. But yeah, this very clumsy between Cuthbert and Thompson.
They managed to both knock into each other without either of them touching any of the football.
Great save from Pank.
Yeah.
It's one of those, it's so bizarre because Chelsea have played a better football here. They just keep getting Wolfsburg chances for no real reason. Back to the question about centre-halves. Chelsea will be hopeful with that if Bright is to depart in the summer, which we'd expect at the moment, that Bjorn, the returning Buchanan, Berman and Germer would be enough to cover it. Because you've got there two naturally left-footed centre-halves, two naturally right-footed centre-halves. It should make sense. I wouldn't be surprised if Chelsea did go back to a 4. If they were going to stick with the 5, then, well, if Bronze is still there, she's an option. But I think Chelsea would also look to bring in another centre-back. Just to be a bit more secure and someone who's sort of more natural central centre-back. German's a really good left centre-half. Bjorn's a really good right centre-half. Buchanan could definitely play that central role really well. But again, we're yet to see how she comes back from that ACL. So, yeah. Chelsea are hopeful that they've got enough centre-halves there, and I think they'll have a lot of faith in Berman in the future. Ball into the box, headed away well by Cuthbert, bounces around, chance now, Berenstein scooping it over the bar. She thinks it's taken a deflection. Referee, though, disagrees.
Yeah, lashed at it a bit there, Berenstein, but Wolfsburg hoping those changes will make the difference and keep the pressure on the Chelsea.
Yeah, Bronze slips over there. She delayed, then looked to play it in behind, just slipped as she went to do so. Here is Cuthbert. Now Walsh. Back to Bronze. Cuthbert under pressure from Latvine. That was the Wolfsburg change, by the way. Latvine on to the field.
Yeah, it was...
She replaced Ella Pedamores.
I think we saw it was Enderman for Bussy as well.
Yes, indeed. Here's Thompson. Across to Nusken. Looking to now arrow that out to the right-hand side. Great touch from Carnery. Ball in. Great delivery. But it's just not quite enough on that. Needed more zip. Johannes was able to come out and get it. Put that across quicker and Johannes isn't getting there.
Yeah.
Huth. Onto it up well. Back to Linda, who plays it forwards. Germer on the back, and that's brilliant from Germer to take it off Beardenstein. Carnereed, Kerr, Germer stays high up the pitch. Manages to squeeze it out to the right-hand side. Great pass there. And she'll stay high now, Naomi Germer. Bronze, Bright. Manages to make the angle to play it to Sandy Baltimore. Tidy footwork from Baltimore. That is excellent to beat Huth. Drives inside now. Excellent dynamism. Can she create a shot? Into Cuthbert, who opens up the body. Does then twist and turn herself into a bit of trouble. Manages to find Baltimore, who does take the shot. That's blocked. And now they'll look to play out. Enderman nowhere to go, though. She's blocked by Nusken. Brilliant from Bronze there to react to get ahead of Beardenstein. Carries it forwards now into Carnereed, who wants to take on Lavels. Which way will she go here, Carnereed? Onto her right foot, ball in. Kerr will get there, great header! And that is vintage from Sam Kerr. The movement to draw away from the defender, and the header, the glancing header across the face of goal. And it's Wolfsburg 1, Chelsea 2. Joanna Ritter-Carnereed does so well here. Sells Lavels the dummy, moves on her right foot. But the movement from Kerr is what really creates that goal-scoring opportunity. So smart from the striker. And that's why Chelsea now take the lead.
Yeah, it's brilliant. It's brilliance from both. And this is what we spoke about with Carnereid. Because you expect that chop to happen every single time as a defender, you're always leading. Lavels is expecting her to come inside, She does a little step over, knocks it to the right-hand side. Lavels is then sent the wrong way. It's a great ball in, but Sam Kerr does all the work. Such good movement. Leaves Bergstrand on the floor and just places a header into the far corner. And we spoke about some Chelsea players just getting into towards goal and just hitting it in the general direction of the goal and hoping it goes in. But that was placed perfectly by Sam Kerr.
That's a precise header. Brilliant from Carnereid. Trying to go down the right-hand side. Latvine knocks it out of play. Little update around the grounds then. Bayern 3-0 up now against Vålerenga. Pernilla Harder with that goal. PSG take the lead away at Benfica. And Roma have added a third and a fourth against Bolton.
Seems like all the sides that are knocked out are having the most fun. Yeah, nothing to lose, nothing on the line.
Absolutely. And I guess for PSG and Roma, despite the fact they've not been good at this competition, Benfica and Bolton respectively are still opponents that they back themselves to be very comfortable against. Especially Benfica haven't been good at this tournament. And Bolton, we know, aren't a side that have the relative strength to compete at all in this competition. But yeah, Paris FC holding their own somewhat against Barcelona. 2-0 as a result they'd be very happy with, but we know that can change in the next 25 minutes very quickly. And Leuven, 2-0 down to Arsenal, but that's, again, not a bad result.
Are they still through as it stands, Leuven?
Leuven, yes, because Vålerenga 3-0 down to Bayern. So unless Vålerenga manage to score 4 goals in the next 24 minutes, Leuven will be in to the Champions League knockouts. Impressive stuff.
Yeah, very impressive on debut. Couple of debutants into the knockouts.
Very it's Manchester United as well. Of course.
They don't really feel like debutants, do they? But they
are.
No,
they should. No team with Fridolin Rolfo should be playing in the Champions League for the first time, really, should they? But there we go. It's been fascinating to see, if London City keep up their level of investment, how that Champions League place distribution works in the WSL. Because you're going to have like 2 high-quality teams every year if they invest to the level. At this rate, Tottenham are going to get in there, and neither United or Arsenal will have Champions League football. Wolfsburg now with the possession. Lavels back to Kuva. Latvine. Great knock round the corner there. One back in there by Bronze, though. Carnereid dispossessed by Latvine. Bronze, that was late from Beerenstein, but Chelsea have the ball. Nusken caught there in the challenge by Pop. And the referee has decided not to give anything. And Wolfsburg come forwards. Beerenstein. I think Chelsea used the advantage, but that was a second foul.
Yeah.
But there we go. Beerenstein. And she makes something happen here for Wolfsburg, opening up for the shot. Not great. Bright creates more of an issue for Peng than anyone else there. As her header loops up, but no problem as Peng claims it.
Yeah, Chelsea will want a third goal just to kill off any threat of a Wolfsburg equaliser. Again, we've seen how dangerous they can be on the break, and all it takes in football is one opportunity. Chelsea will be keen to put this game to bed and put themselves out of sight.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah. Lovely Marga says Carnereid needs ABJ, Agbib Jones, and MM. I assume you mean MH, Mike Hermano, and not a return to Chelsea Football Club for Melis and Pomé. But can't be sure. I think Chelsea will now. Well, they'd like to get another before they rotate too heavily, but I don't think bringing on a Hermano for Thompson weakens Chelsea too significantly. Beaver Jones for Kerr would make sense. Kerr's played an hour now. I wouldn't mind her starting in that game against Liverpool. We know they will probably play a low block.
They might play a high line for a laugh.
No, they only do that against Arsenal.
Oh yes, of course.
To let Blackstenia score late on.
They only do that against the best striker, one of the best strikers in the world, even behind.
But no, if they did put Kerr, if Chelsea did play Kerr, they probably will play a high line. Liverpool. Cuthbert battling away. Kuva uses her frame really well there. Here is Lavels trying to feed it through to Latvine. Great interception from Sjokonusken. Saw some people talking about Sjokonusken leaving Chelsea because of a lack of minutes. I really don't see it happening. I think Nusken's still a player with so much to give for Chelsea. I think, there's no international. If there was a Euros at the end of this year and she wanted to be playing week in, week out, then fair enough. But I really don't see her leaving in January. Maybe she leaves in the summer as a replacement for Georgia Stanway for Bayern. I wouldn't be surprised if that's a move that suited all parties. But in the short term, I don't see her leaving Chelsea in January. I think she's still a player, can contribute immensely. She's as I say, she's one of those though who has won everything apart from the Champions League with Chelsea. I wouldn't be surprised if she did leave for Bayern, regardless of how Chelsea, if Chelsea were to win the Champions League, it's a great high. If they don't, then I wouldn't be surprised she does go to Bayern anyway. Baltimore pulling back there. Svenja Hufen, that will be a yellow card for Chelsea's wing-back.
Yeah, I think the Nuskin one, there was a lot of confusion. I don't think many people realised she was injured. I think there's a lot of people who thought at the start of the season she was just out of favour, but that wasn't the case. And I think now we are starting, we're now seeing exactly, that clearly Nuskin is a big part of this Chelsea side.
So, he says, Hermano re-upped her contract just months ago to 2029. It would be weird if she left for good. Yeah, I don't see Hermano leaving for good. I think she'll leave on loan in January because she wants to get more minutes ahead of the Asian Cup. I think it makes sense with Chelsea's current attacking options. But it'll be interesting. I think with cap time with James both being more natural, both being ahead of her in the pecking order in the 10, it makes sense. I think there will be more rotation though. But, if you've still got Guro right at the club, I think this will be her last season. As much as I love Guro, she just isn't at the level anymore. You've got Alyssa Thompson in there competing for that position as well. But I think there would still be minutes of Hermano. She wants to be playing week in, week out ahead of the Asian Cup. Yeah. So I don't have too much of a problem with it for Chelsea because Chelsea will be wanting to rotate in March. And they won't be able to rotate Michael Hermano because she won't be here.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be too concerned about her leaving on loan. If it's to Tottenham, it's not great because they're our rivals. But if she scores against Arsenal, I'm going to celebrate. I don't care what shirt she's wearing. So if it makes life more difficult for United and Arsenal, and we're able to pocket a little bit of money from it, I'm not too worried. I don't think Tottenham are in any genuine position to compete with Chelsea this season. No. And the fact that, Hermano wouldn't be able to play against us in a head-to-head, you would like to think they don't put that in the loan. Then, I don't have too many issues with it.
And I think the thing for Tottenham is that they can, obviously, even if she does go to the Asian Games, with the amount of attackers that Tottenham have got, they don't need to worry about her. They can enjoy her for a couple of months, but then they'll still have all the attackers they've got now, plus Galpset. They'll be absolutely fine.
Tottenham will be rubbish in March anyway. Because they'll lose Teko Koga and Claire Hunt. Who is going to play centre back for them?
My days!
In March.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah, no, it's going to be Barker. Their season ends in March for Tottenham.
If Tottenham don't sign centre halves in January, they'll end up being finished outside top half.
They're making a lot of moves in January. To be fair, they're looking at Nilden's sister at Herken, and I think
75. I think
is it Veek as well, the right back they're looking at.
That's a position they need.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they're building a squad of Scandinavians, but I'm here for it.
Yeah, brilliant at football.
It looks like a change potentially here for Chelsea. Charles was going to come on while she's down, though, so they're just delaying that for a moment. Locus said Nuskin signed a new contract mid-year. Yeah, but I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Bayern bought her next summer, is what I was saying. But yeah. Cameron says, could you see Stanway at Chelsea next season? No. I don't think she's going to join a club where she wouldn't be a starting player for the biggest games. There's no way she starts over Erin Cuthbert and Kira Walsh. So no. I think Stanway will either end up at Arsenal or somewhere rogue, like a PSG or the US.
No return to City?
Why?
She likes City. But
why would City want her? They've got Hasegawa and Blinker de Brown, and they've just brought in Lohman. And they presumably back Ayumu. If not, they would have signed another defence midfielder by now. So
would they though? Because City like to think that just Yui Hasegawa can play every minute every game.
True. Well, exactly. So why bring in any more midfielders?
Yeah. I mean, silly. Why on earth would they sign one?
Yeah, no, I don't see her. I think she'll go to Arsenal.
Just join the fact that the kind of PR contingent.
Exactly, and she'd immediately be one of the I think they need a midfielder. Arsenal. I don't think it's a bad signing for them.
No,
But
and we could stop seeing Callan. We could start seeing Callan take out the pitch again.
no, don't be silly.
Arsenal, yeah.
Just loads of central midfielders. None of them get to go forwards. Brain says changing formations work well. Isn't ideal for Carpenter starting games moving forward. Well, it hasn't been too much of a shape change. I know Carnary's been higher, but she's still playing wing back. Double change here. Walsh and Baltimore off for Captain Charles. I like the fact that Chelsea have got different options. So, yeah. 4-0 by the way for Leonese. Corbin Schrader with that goal. Roma 5, Polton 0.
I think that speaks absolutely volumes of Polton this campaign.
Because Roma have been rubbish and they're winning 5-0 against them. And then a goal as well for Arsenal. They're 3-0 up in that game. It's an own goal from Linda Wiefkind.
Yeah, I'm disappointed by Atletico. I mean, obviously the red card from Lawani. What did the red card come at 1-0? So yeah, and then the penalty made it 2-0. So yeah, I thought they'd give Leonese a bit of a challenge, but clearly certain individuals have massively let them down in that one.
Shadow says Stanway's better than Captain. I mean, they don't play the same position, so they wouldn't directly block each other anyway. But you're not going to play a midfield three of Stanway, Walsh, and Cuthbert.
They want to sit on their goal line.
Well, it's just two similar players. You need a more attacking option there. And I'd rather have a 20-year-old Vika Captain than a what is Stanway now? 29?
Yeah, around there.
Gotta be. 26. She's not as old, to be fair. That's a thought. But if she is to leave Bayern at the end of her contract, I think she'll go to Arsenal. They've clearly the Lionesses love going there. She'll be there with lots of teammates. The only surprise that Walsh didn't end up there.
It's the kind of signing Real Madrid make, and it goes horribly wrong.
Yeah, it's almost too sensible for Madrid. Here come Wolfsburg. Enderman driving inside, dealt with by Charles. Chance now for Latvine. That's saved well at the front post. Just a bit of a wake-up call there. Chelsea perhaps getting complacent, rolling through their substitutions. But, yeah, that a bit of a warning sign that Wolfsburg are still in this game.
Yeah, exactly that. As you say, I think the last 5-10 minutes are kind of just floated by a little bit, both sides making changes, and Chelsea just getting on the ball, but neither side really coming forwards. But that, just a bit of a spring of a surprise there from Wolfsburg, and just saying, we're still here and we still want to win this football match.
By the way, PSG's goal from 10 minutes ago has been disallowed. So they're back to 1-1 with Benfica, apparently.
It took 10 minutes to look at it.
Well, no, I think it's a delayed notification, but Kanjinga scored.
Oh.
It wasn't to be. Either that or football.
It can't be offside because she just shot from 50 yards out. So no, this is offside.
Maybe it broke the net, so they don't know if it's gone in or not. But yeah.
But no one ever know that's what happens because none of our shots ever hit the back of the net.
Stanway will be 27 in January. Thank you, Shamadizzle. Okra Keefe says Carpenter is the future. Absolutely. Future of that right-hand side. I think Chelsea need to bring in a right-back, I would say. A young right-back, unless they back someone in the academy. I mean, they've got Chloe Sawi, but she's more of a left-back, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
But unless they back someone to come through and be that backup, Chelsea will probably be looking at a right-back in the not-too-distant future. For this season, it'll probably be all right because you've got Connery who can play that wing-back role, and if they play a full-back, they've got Bronze or Carpenter. But I think Bronze will either leave at the end of this season or the end of next. I think she's got a contract through to the end of next, so probably she'll stay another year.
Yeah.
The big debate will be, I think should be re-signed, absolutely. But that obviously will be somewhat contentious. Connery, unfortunately, I think won't be.
But who's going to do the JLK chop?
Well, exactly. No, I think Conrad's going to play with so much potential, which is not really realised, fully. I think she's contributed immensely to Chelsea, but she can be so frustrating in some games.
She could go and join the Tottenham Scandinavians.
That's good. That is a big question. Where does she even go? I wouldn't be surprised if she got offered a lot of money by the end of her sale.
Yeah. Real Madrid, and again that goes. It's
just
like
another wing.
It looks like another really. It's like a really promising, great player from a big team that just doesn't click.
Nice. If we get swapped there with Linda Caicedo, absolutely. Change now up front. That is Saka coming off, and Agnew Jones coming onto the field. JTHK26 says Lucy starting to play at centre back. Has this always been a thing, or is it a new thing? It's happened for the last few weeks now. Bronze played centre off in a back four against Everton. Didn't really work in that game, but no one did. In a Chelsea shirt, she's worked really nicely on the right hand side of her back three. Tonight she started on the right side of back three. It looks more like a 4-2-3-1 as this game's progressed, and Carney just brought on, but. I like Chelsea's flexibility, the ability to have a few different shapes. It's why they brought in this sort of three backs. It just gives them more options. And I think against teams like Barcelona, as we've already seen, it will give them an ability to be more defensively solid, but also offer a lot more transitional threat, while still being able to be possessionally dominant in different phases. So I think it makes sense that Chelsea have tried something. I think what we saw last season was really embarrassing against Barcelona. Chelsea tried to play the way they have in the WSL. I think that the one thing about what Emma Hayes realised towards the end of her spell is that you can't play that way against Barcelona.
No.
Because they're Barcelona.
Yeah. What
we saw from Arsenal last season in the Champions League final was how to beat Barcelona.
Yeah.
Write a thesis on that. Sit deep. And then spring it in behind. I don't think Barcelona are the best team defensively. They're just incredibly good at holding onto the ball and incredibly good at scoring, and it just makes it impossible for teams to actually come at them. I think it helps that they have Gayara, and she's fantastic. I think they massively miss her. I don't think this will be Barcelona's year. I have to say, despite the fact they're going to top the group stage quite convincingly, I don't think without Gayara. I know Gayara will likely be back in March, and that can shift things. I think that'll be a big loss.
I'm still sticking with my prediction. I think it'll be Leonairs or it'll be a surprise. I really do.
Fair enough.
I mean, I more think it's
going forwards.
I more think it's going to be Leonairs than a surprise, but
Beaver Jones now to Cuthbert, wanted to stretch the play. Okay, says I still believe that Sam Kerr is the world's best striker. Kevin says Bunny is better. I think Sam Kerr is absolutely world class. I think Khadija Shaw is narrow. I mean, I love Sam Kerr. I think she's one of the best to ever do. I think right now though, Shaw is marginally the better footballer.
Yeah.
Wolfsburg building out from the back. Johannes now to Bergsvans. 6-0 Roma as well, by the way.
Wow.
Drops now for Germa. Thompson can't quite latch onto that pass. Linda goes back now to Johannes, trying to play out to the left-hand side. Lavels goes down the line. Enderman can't quite hold on to it. Now Beaver Jones. Back now to Joanna Ritting-Carnareid. Bronze. Nuskan Carnareid. Poked out by Lavels. Chelsea with a throw-in on the far side.
I don't think it's been Thompson's best game. I think it's another example of when coming up. I think she's shown she's looked good when Wolfsburg been caught high, but when Wolfsburg has sat in and being is again another example of these. When Chelsea come up against these physical sides that sit a little bit deeper, I think Thompson has struggled a little bit. I mean, I know as you say, everyone's struggled in that Everton game as well. But then you look at Liverpool, who they did make a lot of errors, which helped.
I don't think I think it's one of those where I understand she hasn't scored, hasn't got a contribution, but I don't think she's done anything wrong tonight.
Yeah, no, but I don't think she's
it's one of those where I think you can say, she hasn't really contributed to any of the goals, but her movement's been good. She's looked good with the ball. She hasn't really given it away at all that I can remember.
Yeah, I don't think she's been on it.
Not as much second half, but first half, those combinations between her, Baltimore and James were brilliant. I don't think she's really been given the ball in the second half. But, I don't think she's really done much wrong.
No.
But there we go. I think it's been bar the mistakes early on, it's been a very nice performance from Chelsea. I think we're seeing that level to play against elite teams.
It's got the job done, and that's what Chelsea needed tonight.
You take their big chances, it's 4-1.
Yeah, but that's been every game this season.
Well, no, I know clinicality's not been there, but that's what I'm saying. People have spoken loads about how Chelsea's levels dropped. I think the performance level, it took a little bit of a dip, but Chelsea had their chances. It's just a different matter.
Yeah, the reaction is, I think, has been the most impressive.
Yeah.
Again, it's, you know, when the pressure's on and it hasn't been a perfect run to go, you know, you go 1-0 down away from home against another pot one side, and the reaction to dig in and turn it around has been very good. And again, it's another showing of that mentality, that Chelsea mentality hasn't been rocked by losing the unbeaten streak.
And I think as well, you know, Chelsea made mistakes tonight, but Wolfsburg are a very good side. Germa looking to go down the line, held up well there by Aggie Beaver Jones. Now shifts it across, trying to play the ball through the lines there, captain, but it's blocked well by Bergsvand. You forget Wolfsburg still only a 1-goal margin. As much as Chelsea have controlled this second half, it can change very quickly. Ball in, Bronze wins the header comfortably. Lavels, Latvine, a little ad hoc.
Game ahead at the moment.
Bieldo, who's just brought on, now out to the right-hand side. Doesn't come to anything there, though. That's cleared away well by Germa. 4-0 Bayern as well. And it is Padilla Bidas with that goal. Captain. I haven't seen loads of Padilla Bidas. Was brilliant at the Euro to Poland. Thought she may get a move off the back of that, but
yeah, it's a shame. You know, you think that Poland side that did look very good. Thought Padilla Bidas has had a, you know, has had some decent minutes with Bayern Munich, but nothing spectacular. Obviously, Shimchak got a loan to Liverpool and then picked up a long-term injury. And obviously, we know where Ava Payor is and what she's doing.
Yeah, 4 cups, 4 matches in the Champions League. Not a bad campaign so far. 1 against Chelsea, 2 against Bayern as well. So it's not just stat padding against the smaller sides.
It is always interesting to see the players that shine at the Euros, and then how they fare in the season after. I mean, Livia Peng's another good example of a player who had a really good tournament for Switzerland, got the move to Chelsea, and is now being, you know, with the injury to Hampton, has had a really good run in the first team.
Also coming down the left-hand side, Cora Zikai, who was just brought onto the field, shifts it inside well, Latvine, now to Bielda. Worth noting, Wolfsburg have made attacking changes. Enderman onto this right-hand side. Charles keeps with her well. And a play, and that will be a Wolfsburg corner.
These are the kind of games you hate as a fan, because at times it feels comfortable, but again, you see that scoreline, it's only a 1-goal margin, and as Wolfsburg do start to come forward in the latter stages, you do just get a little bit worried that one shot, someone just pokes this corner towards goal, something happens, you never know. Football can change very quickly.
Corner now for Wolfsburg. That'll be delivered in towards the middle of the goal. Headed away well by Bronze. And now Thompson knocking it on. Looking for the run of Vika Kaptein. Back into Lavels now. And across is blocked by Charles. That's another corner for VFL Wolfsburg.
Yeah, good spell this for Wolfsburg. Those changes have kind of reignited a bit of fire for the home side. And they're starting to put Chelsea under a little bit more pressure.
Bolton have got a goal back, by the way. Against Roma, that is now 6-1.
Never say never.
Seeing their 3rd Champions League goal, I think, this season. Ball towards the back post, headed away. And now kept alive. Bielda in towards the area. Cooper will try and get there, headed on. Paying no issue, claiming that, though, not enough power. And that Bayern goal as well for Padilla, that's disallowed.
Can't imagine there's be too many minutes added on. Still got 2 left of the 90, but I mean, you're probably again looking around that 4, the classic 4-5 region now that is kind of expected with at the end of every football match.
Now says if Buell leaves, Padias will feature more. True, but if Buell leaves, then Bayern are in massive trouble.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, true.
You'd like to think, anyway.
Layouts into Zikai, blocked well by Bronze, who feeds it into Beaver Jones. And now Carnreid, Bronze, just play it in behind. Beaver Jones making it off the shoulder. Cooper will get there, back to a goalkeeper now, who does well there to play the pass inside. One back in there by Kaptein, who pressed aggressively. Carnreid back to Kaptein, who opened up the space with a shot. Fires towards the near post. Saved well by Johannes.
Not bad from Chelsea, who would have really liked to kill the game off there and then. Captain, not a bad effort, good save, but yeah, that would have been a nice opportunity for Chelsea to get that third goal and to just put this game to bed.
Absolutely. As the minutes tick away, Wolfsburg, well, they'll have an opportunity to go for this at the end of the game. And while they won't be able to make top 4 now, they could certainly improve their own standing if they could get a point. Nuska, Cuthbert, brought down in there by Pop, Zikai, Latvine. Now moves up to the right-hand side, Enderman. Well, actually, Wolfsburg need 2 at the late stage here to move anywhere. Enderman into the box, cleared away by Bright. Bielda. Nuskun heads away. 5 minutes of additional time. What can Wolfsburg do? Latvine. Blocked away. Pop trying to create space for the shot. She does. It cannons off the head of Bronze. It was nowhere near the target. Bronze there goes down. That will not be a nice one. That's absolutely volleyed at her head.
Talk about putting your body on the line. Oh, yeah. Point blank range. Took that right square in the face. Good defending from Bronze, who's back to her feet. But I'm sure the physios just want to check her over.
Yeah.
But yeah, warrior. Lucy Bronze. Even if sometimes she does make some daft decisions and give the ball away in bad areas. But yeah, very good piece of defending there.
Is it fair to say the top 5 pretty much the best 5 teams? I said that's the top 6. I think United are probably the 6th best team in Europe. And then after that...
Oh, I'm not sure about that.
Who's 6th best team in Europe then?
It's difficult because I think none of them have consistency. And I think I'd even throw United into that this season because on their day, Wolfsburg are in that conversation, Real Madrid are in that conversation. And I think that's what makes it so difficult.
United lack the depth. Real Madrid lack a goal scorer. Wolfsburg, I don't think, play incredibly good football, but they've got a really decent squad.
Juve, at this rate.
Yeah.
What have they done tonight? Who are they?
They've lost, or they're losing to United. That's still
that's fair enough. That's not bad.
If they could get a goal, they would go through. Well, sorry, they need 2 goals, but they would go through top 4. That looks unlikely to happen now. And Bayern, despite losing 7-1 on the opening match day and drawing with Atletico last week, will manage to get into the sneak through into the top 4.
Very good turnaround. Fair play to them. Yeah.
But only 3 unbeaten sides in this competition in the league phase. That is Barcelona, Udinese, and Chelsea. Forward to the box from Zikai. Little bit nervy. Penn gets enough on that to push it out.
This game isn't over yet, and Chelsea have got to remember that.
Yeah. Samuel says you could argue Wolfsburg better. They beat United 5-2. That is true. I don't judge on one game though. And United were far from their best. I think United's 11 is really good. On that, but yeah, they've got no depth. So as soon as you make any changes, they're weak.
It's all that consistency because that was a good Wolfsburg versus a bad United. If that's the other way around, then United probably win the game. It's negative.
Yeah, they met them in Matchweek 1 when they were flying high, playing good football, ball in, headed away by Cuthbert. Drops now on the edge and squeezed the shot. Enderman off the bar, hooked away by Charles. Chelsea just sitting in, trying to ride this out. Bielda back out to Lavels. That's a nice exchange. Enderman now. Gone. She's just a touch is loose. Bielda. Blocked well by Cuthbert, and Chelsea will look to break away. Here's Carnereid. It's a 2-on-2 here. Thompson joins the attack. Carnereid's going to look for the box here to kill the game off. Puts it towards the back post. Thompson unmarked. Just set horribly for her. And she is now going to look to slow it down. Charles. Back to Germa.
Thompson's got his hat to the corner.
To be fair, Chelsea here just going to knock it around. Ryder Bronze not doing anything stupid on the ball.
Exactly. I'll just take it to the corner and leave it there.
Down the line, looking for Beaver Jones. Muscled off there by Kuva. Back now to Johannes. Yeah, should have gone to the corner now. Lavels.
Because it went down the right-hand side and something silly happened.
Here is Bergsvand. Lavels. Plays it now into Enderman. Exchanges with Bielda, who's gone down to very little contact from Cuthbert there. Absolutely bought that from the referee.
Very soft on that. Very soft.
I don't even think they touch.
Yeah,
if they do, it's not enough to make that happen.
No. Yeah, this was the
Enderman's effort wriggled through.
Oh, wow.
Just scooping it almost up onto the crossbar.
Well, this free kick, you feel, is going to be one last opportunity for Wolfsburg to get something from this game.
Because none of this stage really matters. It's just a very long route to 14. It's not playing extra couple of games, knockouts where it matters. True, but for OH Leuven to get through to the knockouts the first time is incredible stuff, which you wouldn't have got in the last format. PSG and Roma getting knocked out. Thompson knocking it away. And Wolfsburg will try and make it happen quickly here. Bielda takes too long about the throw, forced backwards all the way to Johannes. We're over the 5th minute of the allotted additional period. Referee, though, for some reason, is happy to keep playing. Bielda. Latvine. And that shot goes wide, and you think that will be the last action of the game. Paying in no rush to take this. As we tick into the 6th minute now of additional time. Chelsea, one of only 3 games still playing in the Women's Champions League, and we'll round up all the action after this. Peng launches it forwards. Beaver Jones flicking it on. That's how to play. Referee still happy to keep playing here. Bielda. Back now to Bergsvand. Now Kuva. Lavels. Plays it forwards into Pop. Back now to Kuva. Bielda. Enderman. Would love to know the referee's justification behind this as Wolfsburg come forwards. Enderman into the box, headed away by Bright. Drops now on the edge. Zekai going backwards, and finally the referee blows the full-time whistle. It's Wolfsburg 1, Chelsea 2. A victory for the Blues here means they maintain an unbeaten record in the Women's Champions League this season. A draw and a win against their pot 1 opposition. A draw against Twente, the only other blemish on an otherwise perfect record. A successful Champions League group stage then for Chelsea as they progress automatically into the quarterfinals.
Yeah, exactly what Chelsea were looking for. It wasn't plain sailing. The draw to Twente a couple match weeks ago put Chelsea in a bit of a difficult position, but they worked hard to turn it around and make sure they got into that top 4. And yeah, qualifying straight through to the last 8 is important. Takes out 2 extra games, which won't help fitness and adds a bit more jeopardy for the sides like Wolfsburg, who will be in that draw tomorrow. But yeah, a all-round good night for Chelsea. 6 game weeks down, league phase finished, and through to the quarterfinals.
Absolutely. Shadow, welcome to the streams. Congratulations on the win. JTHK says, we're the first English team who defeated Wolfsburg in their home ground. Impressive stuff. Shadow says, PSG can win a game. Can you believe it? I'm shocked.
They're not.
They are so unbelievably bad, that PSG side. Liam says, well done, guys. Great coverage. Thank you. Well, that rounds up the Champions League phase. The results tonight: Bayern Munich a 3-0 win at home to Vålerenga. That sees them progress automatically into the quarterfinals. FC Twente had Real Madrid to a 1-1 draw. If Real had won that game, they would have got automatic quarterfinals. Juventus 0, Manchester United 1. Again, a poor result for Juventus at home, that as they were in the top 4 heading into this match day. Leones confirmed their place in the last 8, a 4-0 victory over 10-player Atletico Madrid. OH Leuven, a 3-0 loss to Arsenal, but they're into the knockouts for the first time in history. Arsenal in the top half of that knockout playoff round stage. It is then Paris FC 0, Barca 2, a result. Again, neither side really needed to play, with Barcelona confirmed top spot in the Champions League table. Roma 6, Polton 1. Two sides eliminated before this match day, but a big win for Roma. Benfica 1, PSG 1. The other two sides eliminated before this match day. PSG have been absolutely embarrassing. Wolfsburg 1, Chelsea 2, the game we've just watched. Wolfsburg 9th in the table, meaning they'll face either Manchester United. No, I can't work out. Either Real Madrid or Juventus in the next round. Arsenal or United will face Atletico Madrid or OH Leuven.
Tasty.
Indeed.
Very, very tasty.
Either way, I think that's, well, if it's Leuven, it's a more favourable tie. I don't know if Arsenal fans want to see Leuven again.
Yeah.
But there we go. If it's Atletico United, they'd also be meeting again. So for the sake of it changing, I hope it's United, Leuven and Arsenal, Atletico. So yeah, draw is tomorrow. Make sure to join me here on this channel for the draw tomorrow. We'll be looking at, obviously, we're not just drawing the knockout playoff round tomorrow. We'll also get the seeding for the rest of the tournaments. We'll find out who will play who in the quarterfinals and semi-finals when we get to that stage. So we'll be live for that. That is at 11:45 tomorrow. Draw starts at 12 o'clock. It is the UEFA draw. It could start anywhere from 12 o'clock to about 2 in the afternoon. But they have said 12 o'clock, so make sure to be here for them. Other than that, we're back on Friday with a review of the Champions League phase, so look out for that. That was everything from us today. Thank you guys very much for watching, and we will see you next time.